no matter what, you still look wild. You're still rugged, and you look like you're ready for anything. Ron, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell people how you know me, Ron.
So I met Tim from Louisiana Husky Rescue. So some events happened in my life, like my fiance, Christian, and I were looking for a dog. Like my sister passed away in March, and so with all of that happening plus COVID, I was just like, I need an outlet that is not
I need something to hug.
yeah, because it's like my sister, she died at 39. And
Wow.
like
Of what? What happened?
well, she previously had some drug addiction problems,
Oh.
and she was finally sober for a few years, and just from the damage to her heart, she died from heart failure.
So it's almost like she got clean.
She
for
got
a
clean,
while,
and then
her heart was like, I'd rather the
I'm
crack.
done. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Fuck.
she was clean, and she moved in with my other sister.
Not to say she was on crack, but I don't know what she was on. I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah. So, so that all happened, and that happened. Plus, maybe 2 weeks later, my best friend died.
Really?
Yeah, and then like maybe another month and a half later, another good friend died.
Holy shit.
So like,
and this is all in 2020.
this is 2020.
Welcome to 2020.
So I was just like, Chris, I cannot mentally, like, I think I need like a support animal, like
Yeah.
of something, just something to take my mind off of things,
Yeah.
and we talked, and then our neighbor Mac adopted one of your huskies.
Yeah, he had Winston. He
Yeah,
got
and-
Winnie is what they called him, I think.
Yeah, and I was just like, maybe I want a husky, because I grew up with like a big dog,
And
and
that's
then
and
a husky.
you have
kind
no time to cry with a husky
Right.
because that they will.
if they will eat it up.
Yes, they fill all of those voids with something to do, whether it's chase them around as they chew and destroy things, or just the
Love you.
love that they give
Yeah.
you. I mean, they really are a very, very loving animal.
Yeah, and we were kind of hesitant at first of getting Loki because he was so young, and we're like, oh well, if he's a rescue, I'd kind of prefer maybe an older dog, something maybe a little more neglected, kind of thing.
But you wanted a beat up dog? I mean,
No,
you
well, like like an older dog that may not have had a chance. Kind of thing.
Did we have any at the time? I don't think.
No.
We had Liberty. No, we did. We
Oh.
did have Liberty Bell. She was a senior, and she had heartworms. She was sick. She was a throwaway. All kinds of issues. But she's in Lake Charles now, so she's in a loving home, very, very loving home. But she's a senior too, so a lot of people didn't want a senior dog.
I don't think she was available when I.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't-
Maybe.
No, she was.
Oh.
But I don't think she was finished with her heartworm treatment. So of
Okay.
course we won't put them on the website if they're still undergoing treatment.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We kind of changed that a little bit. It's kind of like how Willow's not even ready to have.
Oh, Willow.
We take the applications because we know a lot of them will come in, especially for a young one. But for the seniors, we're just not going to waste our time with a lot of people just, not serious about it.
Yeah.
Or for my statistics sake, if I put them actually in the system, I'm like big on statistics, and I'm pretty sure you've probably seen.
I love statistics.
I'm like giving so much information. People are like, I don't really want that information. It's like, well, fuck, it's very important to me because GuideStar likes this information. This is what helps us get grants.
Yeah.
So, but nonetheless, I don't think she was in there because she was still going through the heartworm treatments and stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah. So Loki, we've had him. God, 3 or 4. No. Oh my gosh, it's October.
Is it 5 months?
5 months
Yeah.
now. Yeah, and he's just a bundle of joy and has really helped fill that void of like
So do you
something I needed.
So
really.
do you think you were able to fully grieve with the help of Loki?
Oh yeah. Like without Loki, I probably would have dropped out of school.
Oh shit, no.
Oh, like I was already going through a lot of
Yeah, but isn't school your passion though? I mean, isn't it something
well,
you're really into?
It is, but it's also just a lot of stress.
The life-changing events.
Just like everything going on, I was just like, maybe I shouldn't be in school right now. Maybe I should look for a job and get paid like a decent amount,
Well,
And, I At that time, I was really questioning maybe PhD life is not for me right now.
What could you do? So, okay, so you have a master's then, right?
I do. I
Okay.
do.
So, I guess,
I could do a lot of things.
so okay, well then, okay, you can do a lot of things. So, it means you got a lot to say besides how you know me. So, I guess tell everybody what you do.
So I'm a PhD student at the University of Louisiana,
Mhm.
and in the biology program. But my research focus is on seaweeds in the Gulf of Mexico, um, and I basically look at their evolutionary relationships. So basically, how I like to explain it is think of your family tree. You know, you want to know who your siblings are, your aunts and uncles, you know, etc.
Mhm.
But instead of being one species, you're looking at all different kinds of species. And our lab specifically, my PI is Dr. Suzanne Frederic, and she studies red algae primarily. And our lab studies all the seaweeds, primarily focused in the Gulf of Mexico, but anywhere there's seaweeds, we can work on. Um, but a lot of the research has been done is with they did biodiversity monitoring, so basically looking at what kind of things are there in the Gulf of Mexico, and then as they're doing these monitoring, the Deep Sea Horizon oil spill happened.
Whew. Do you know I was 13 miles from that when it blew up? I was on
really?
another rig.
Oh
So
my
talk
God.
about a surreal experience. You're
That's
on a
crazy.
rig that could blow up just
And
like
you're just
that.
seeing it like.
But get this. We are 13 miles away from this rig on a drill ship. It wasn't an actual platform. It was on a drill ship. I was doing a software upgrade on some DrawWorks. I was a software, at the time I was a software technician. I wasn't even an engineer yet. So we're watching this happen, and we're just like, oh, they got a big old flare going on, yada, yada, yada. Oh, they're burning off a lot
And you're
of...
like,
We didn't know they blew up. We just knew that they had a huge flare boom.
And you could see pretty far in the Gulf, like.
Yes. And we were just like, wow. I was like, whoa, I guess they got a lot of work they got to do. Didn't realize until I woke up in the morning that motherfucker blew up. I was like, and my helicopter rod was leaving that next morning, and I was like, does this delay the helicopters? I need to get off this motherfucker. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that was a surreal. Now, mind you, I wasn't scared or paranoid or anything. It was just, I was just like, well, this is surreal, and I'm glad I'm going home now. Because if you fuckers don't know how to do what you're supposed to do, and a simple safety valve on a BOP actually failed, or y'all didn't put it there, or y'all pushed a button or whatever, I didn't really know. We didn't have facts like we do now. I was like, well, I need to get the fuck off of this bitch. I said, this is what happened when a bunch of you uneducated motherfuckers start running this shit. And I already knew that because they always break equipment, because my job with NOV was to go fix the shit they kept breaking. And sometimes I'd get off the rig and you turn around and you go right back because they broke it again. And that's just from inexperience. And they don't listen because they think they know everything because they've been on the rig for 500 days. And I only installed it the first time. So, yeah. But that's something. So, carry on. Keep going.
Yeah, so we did a lot of monitoring for the seaweeds over there. And so basically how we collect the seaweeds, depending on where we are, is we have box dredgers. So they're basically just these, like, grabbers. And we pull them up from the deep. So this can be 100 meters down, 50 meters down. It depends on where we are in the Gulf. So primarily we work, off a Ewing Bank or Sackett Bank, or...
Where are those?
Kind of more just outside of Louisiana, but like in between Texas and Louisiana, but more off.
Like close to the Sabine, where the river comes out or something?
No. It's more offshore. Totally more. Like.
Okay.
And then there's a...
But getting to it, though, would be like in Cameron or something? Like, where would you dispatch off of to get there?
We take our ship either at Corpus Christi or Cocodrie.
Okay.
Where the marine station is.
Okay, because I just wanted to give everybody an idea of where you're talking about, because I don't even know where you're talking about. Because usually I was typically used to leaving out of Fouchon, which is on the other side of Louisiana.
Oh.
I never left out of the Cameron area because Cameron was always like a disaster, and they stopped sending boats out of there for offshore. It used to you used to be able to leave to go into the Gulf of Mexico from Cameron Parish, somewhere in Cameron. Not anymore. Everything's been destroyed, and I guess there's fewer barrier islands, so they get more rough water closer to land, which means you can't really go anywhere. It's just,
Yeah. So basically, just take that up. We've got a lot of collaborators with these projects, so there's always other UL professors that'll work with us that like study like the invertebrates, the
Okay, so that leads me to your title is
so what? So my title, I would, besides a PhD student, I would call myself a phycologist. So this is someone who studies algae.
Yeah, that's the Greek word for algae.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, I had to actually look that up, and that's the study of algae. So you're a sub category or a sub study of like, actual
marine biology. You can call it marine botany, marine botanist, oceanographer.
Yeah.
Depending on what I'm doing that day, it depends on the title.
But your main focus is algae. No
all the seaweeds. So
all the seaweeds.
Like
now is coral. Where does coral fit? Because isn't coral like a plant?
So coral is an animal though, but it has a symbiotic relationship. So a special relationship with microalgae. So these are like microscopic, and the algae photosynthesizes and gives energy to the corals.
Okay.
And so that's how.
So why is the coral hard though? Like it seems like there's always an absence of life in it, and it's like bone almost.
Oh, well, exactly. It is exactly bone. It's made from calcium carbonate, which is exactly what bone is from. And then the certain type of seaweed I do actually has calcium carbonate in its cell walls too. And so a lot of people think seaweed, they think like, or algae as like the like Gunkin lakes or kelp or like the
slime
stuff on the rocks.
Yeah.
Now, to an extent, that is what some people do, but I study the basically crust on the rocks.
Okay. Is that the same as like what you find on ships? Like,
sometimes
we'll take
like
a ship
on the foulings on the sides.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Okay.
Or like things on your aquariums, like that'll grow on the sides.
Oh God, I used to hate that shit.
That
I
people
gave that
scrape up.
I had one down there. Trace, did you ever come here when I had the fish tank? So yeah, I had a fish tank and I recently got rid of it because I thought I was gonna build another house, but then of course COVID, all this other shit happened, and of course I won't be doing one probably for 2 years now instead of a year. But I gave it away, and I mean that was the worst job I ever had, was just getting the fucking algae. And it's weird. It's its own little bio,
it totally
ecosystem,
is. And it's very important.
It never goes away though. Never goes away. Oh, it's fucking horrible. But that is just part of oceanic life, and and
it provides a lot of the oxygen in the ocean, and for us to use. It's an important habitat, like for many different animals. So like the crust that I study, they serve as settlement for other invertebrates. We're actually finding now that in addition to these crusts, so they're basically nodules we call rhodoliths. And so rhodoliths meaning red rock. And they, depending on what kind they are, one can make their calcium carbonate, and the other one uses like a substrate like coral rubble, and then grows on top of it and around it. Depending on that, we notice that some different seaweeds and other organisms utilize their spores. So basically think like seeds, but spores. And they utilize this as like a resting stage until that rock breaks open and their spores are released, and they can germinate basically once they...
Like a tree does.
Exactly.
Okay.
So think of it like a seed bank, essentially.
So phycology and invertebrate zoology and all these other little sub things, do y'all work together at all? Is they like
sometimes there's a lot of overlap depending on your projects. Like say we have a lot of overlap with other researchers that are studying in the same location. So our invertebrate biologists and their students will come on our ship as we're like bringing up stuff from the deep or the
Oh, because
ocean.
they could have
They
something
can have something there
of value that they can
because
study.
it's super expensive to get a ship like ship time.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
I
You were
could-
talking like almost God, I don't know what the quote was exactly, but you're thinking like maybe $40,000 a day.
Yeah, just think one helicopter flight out to just empty to get a helicopter to a rig is 10 grand. That was the rates when I was working in the oil field.
I got sick on one of the ships, and they were gonna tell me, we didn't know what it was at the time, but they were like, "Oh, we can medevac you like we could drive to the nearest rig and then medevac you." And I was like, I can wait 3 more days until we are back to shore, and then I will go to the hospital.
You're gonna cause my department to bankrupt itself.
And to find out, what I had at that time was pretty serious, but
when you should have been medevac.
I probably should have, but
God.
I'm alive.
Yeah.
It was a Vibrio infection.
What is that?
So it's a pathogenic bacteria in the water.
Did you get that from being in the water, grabbing
No,
samples or stuff like that?
So we don't go in the water. We bring everything up to us on the ship.
Okay, so you have a crane, grabs everything, and then you dig through everything you need.
And it's depending on where we are. It could be very anoxic sulfuric mud, like the gray, squishy, it's a great environment for certain organisms. And then other ones are full of like the rhodolith rocks.
What's a rhodolith rock?
Rhodolith? So the red rocks. So
I thought you said throtolith.
Oh,
I was
no,
like,
no,
is that
rhodolith.
another one? I was
Sorry.
like, you just
No.
taught me about these red rocks. Now we got a throtolith?
No,
What
no,
is this?
no,
This
no.
is a dark blue red rock?
No. And so we'll bring those things up. We'll bring, a bunch of different seaweeds up. Like one of the cool things that I enjoy, but I don't necessarily study it, but some people in our labs have studied it, is we found the deepest green seaweed, one of the deepest green seaweeds, and it basically looks like snot, but it's thicker, and it's called vertigalis, and because of
Why didn't you just call it snot?
Well,
something simple.
That's the Latin.
What's all these weird names? Y'all are as bad as the medical profession, given all this weird shit.
Well, it's based on science, like terms, botanical Latin and.
Yeah, and I do notice everything is based off Greek, so it's like, did these motherfuckers know all this shit back then, or are we just giving them props for getting us to where we are right now? It's kind of what I start thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think, Trace? You don't know?
I don't know.
No idea?
Between the Romans and the Greeks,
Yeah, why did everything go to them? Why is there no, why do we have no, African scientists, naming things and stuff like that? Everything is after Greek.
Everything is pretty European-centric in the...
Yeah.
And
were they the first ones that did scientific studies or something?
No.
I know we had to have some Egyptian scientists. I mean, the fucking pyramids are how old? And they're way older than what they think they are, because, what is it? What is that study of stone?
Geology.
Is it geology?
Or archaeology, depending on what.
But isn't there subcategories of geology and stuff like that? Certain types of stone or whatever. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it.
I don't.
Because kind of like how you guys have subcategories of different studies. I didn't know if there was certain when geology thinks of something about hardness. I mean, somebody ping in, comment something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, if there's I don't remember.
There's got to be something like when it says something about the hardness of it and its age and it's like the trees with the rings and shit like that. And let's not venture off too. I could go into a rant about it. So yeah. So with everything that you're doing, would you say that you have a master's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with a master's, are you able to what do you call that? The damn word escapes me now.
I can go basically anywhere there's a coast for a job.
Well, your studies though for PhD, but are you adding anything as a master's graduate?
Oh, sure.
I've
learned a lot of skills that I didn't. I knew a little bit when I was getting my undergrad and master's, but for my PhD, I'm super specialized and focused. This is what all the skills I'm doing, but what I'm doing, like, because I do a lot of molecular biology and computer programming to run these codes and stuff, like, I can transfer all those skills into many different applications, not just, say, for once I graduate. If I wanted to do something else, I could.
Are you telling me your skills could go into technology?
Totally.
Because then that runs down into something else that I was thinking of was, that you've got biotechnology and all this stuff going on. And I mean, it also brings up something that, because if I had the money, I'd buy it. But like, these shoes have algae in the soles.
Are they from? Yeah.
I want these shoes. And it's a new. I always liked Merrell, not like I'm asking them for any kind of sponsorship or anything, but they just came out with those. And what was weird is I knew I was talking to Ron, and it's got algae in the soles to help with cushioning and all this stuff. But is that algae alive though? I mean, because
they're probably using the no. I don't think
so.
It's
what
alive.
happens to algae when it dies then? Does it stay in some kind of a form that doesn't deteriorate?
Well, this is probably microalgae. And so a lot of the microalgae have, you could basically culture them in flasks, and they can extract, like, the oils from the algae. So in their cell walls, they'll produce, like, lipids.
Okay.
And you can basically, this is why, like, biofuels, they're doing the same thing as biofuels where instead of using petroleum, they'll use, like, these microalgae and take the lipids.
Yeah, because that's another thing I was going to say. Aren't there algae that could actually power things when you take some sort of extracts, or when you use them in certain ways, they can actually keep our lights on and stuff like that?
So there's a lot of the research, though, is done on microalgae, though, not necessarily seaweeds, because microalgae, they can reproduce a lot faster because they're one cell. And so they'll make a lot of different generations in a shorter amount of time. So it's cost efficient, and it's like fast.
And it's also natural, where we don't have to alter it, which makes
can just
a bad
leave
byproduct. Yeah. I saw an article. A guy has this 30-gallon glass thing. He put a sprout, some compost, and he sealed it in 1940, and it turned into its own ecosystem. I didn't print it out because I just read it before we started the show, before you even got here, and I meant to do it because I found it interesting. And it's kind of like when I do research and stuff like that. Before you come on, I looked up a few things to understand so I could talk to you about some of this. But that popped up because I got my algorithm now. It's like, oh my God, you're interested in marine biology? So let's talk about this old man that put a sprout and some compost and a little bit of water in this, and it had an ecosystem, and that thing was full.
The things you can find in a drop of water, like a rainwater, of like puddle water, is phenomenal.
But he had not opened it. He sealed it. And some people are like, oh, well, when you seal it, no fresh air, everything dies. But kind of like the ocean, there's water and oxygen and not water. I say water in the sea. Duh, no fucking shit, Tim. But oxygen and other things that create that environment that we don't even common people like me don't understand, that could make that happen in that jar. But it was full of greenery. And he was like, you could also eat this sprout too. I was like, what?
That's cool.
But I don't eat eat all that vegetation. So I mean, I don't fuck with that shit. But yeah, I thought that was amazing. I didn't know that it could do that, because that's why questions. Okay, well, that algae there, is it alive or is it a byproduct of the algae?
It's I'm most certain it's a byproduct of the algae. Like, but they are doing like microalgae like lamps, like where they like instead of street lamps using light bulbs, they'll use algae that'll like glow, essentially.
That's crazy.
And so that's kind of cool. Like,
is it as bright though as a light?
Probably not. But
what would it take to intensify it and make it even more? Like, can we give it something without killing it to make it as intense as
it would probably need? Well, it would have.
Or do we need to go to the what's the place? The other place on Stranger Things, when they go to that other world, the other side, or we just need to live in a world where everything's a little duller and we don't need all these bright lights.
Yeah. So I guess I just have to figure out what they're using.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it really is. There's so many. You can find algal products pretty much anywhere. You can find it in your toothpaste. You can find it in
I use
ice
that
cream.
charcoal toothpaste. What do you think of that?
I think charcoal toothpaste is kind of overrated and it does
Really?
more damage.
No, I don't have.
The grit from the charcoal, I think, is.
You think
it'll-
that destroys the enamel?
Mhm.
I don't know. I switched to it. I've not used the regular toothpaste since. I ordered my
It
toothpaste
makes
from
you
South Korea.
feel nice, though.
But
I
don't,
will give you that, but I think it does more damage than it does harm.
Yeah, but I don't need to do all them teeth whiteners and all other weird shit that everybody else is doing, bleaching their teeth and have those
Ew.
glowing
Why would you
blue
do that?
teeth. Oh, come on. You're gay. I'm gay. You know all the gays are using all that fucking whitening shit. They gotta smile
I
and
drink
fucking
too much coffee to have
blind
white
you.
teeth.
What did I just have earlier? I mean, fuck. But I use my charcoal toothpaste, and I feel like I don't need to use all that unnecessary shit. And plus, I use mouthwash. I use hydrogen peroxide as mouthwash. That
works.
is probably the most purest way to clean your mouth. I mean,
It totally works.
besides the sweet. Now, this comes from a person who drinks Mountain Dew, but when I read that the mouthwashes all have sugar and stuff in it, I was like, well, why the fuck am I even using this? I need just pure fucking mouthwash. I need, because I used to have,
Swig vodka in your mouth.
well, at a younger
Don't
age.
do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, it will burn everything, right? And you get a nice hit in the morning.
And you'll get inflamed gums.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
See, I'm glad I know that too, because I had gingivitis in my teens and 20s, and it took forever to get rid of it. And guess what? And that's when I really switched just to hydrogen peroxide. And if you people don't know what gingivitis is, it's a fucking gum infection, and you are prone to getting it again once you have it one time. So that's why I'd rather that. And I think I did the charcoal because of all that stupid added ingredients in our Crests and Colgates, and I mean they're made in capitalist country, so I don't know if they're making
makes
something.
sense, yeah.
I don't know if they're making some shit that makes me have to buy it again and again. I just kind of trust the shit in South Korea because hey, them bitches. Oh shit, here I go. The people out, not to say anything bad about them, but no, they're big on appearance and they're big on on their fucking teeth, and I swear that's the best toothpastes I've ever had, and they're all charcoal based.
Yeah.
They have a charcoal powder, like a powder. It comes in a little tub. It's charcoal powder, and you go boop boop boop, and you brush your teeth. I'm about to try that shit. I'm gonna have to give you some.
Okay.
You're
I'll use it.
You're like, fuck no, get that shit away from me. No, so but going back to the algae, that's I don't understand why we couldn't put more research and stuff like that. Because I mean, guys like you're all digging it up, y'all playing with it all the time. I'm pretty sure there's got to be something beneficial
Oh, there's
that
so
we
much
can use
like
outside of the water.
you can. There's basically anything with like carrageenan, agar.
What is carrageenan?
So these are cell products that are in the cell walls of some red algae, and they're used as like thickeners, and so you find it in like.
So you telling me I
milkshakes.
could put that in like my Jello?
Oh,
to
they're
make
already
it?
in. Oh, not the Jello, but you can use it as.
What is
thickener.
pectin made out of then? Is pectin kind of like an algae type of thing? Because pectin is used to thicken something.
That I don't remember.
Don't
what
know?
pectin,
I
but-
just figured you was gonna give
but
me that
they
surprise.
would do like
Yes.
an alternative would be agar. So that's another thing that's made from some red algae,
Okay.
and that's used as a thickener too.
Okay.
So
Well, I think it's interesting. I mean, because I fear anything in the ocean because we don't belong there. We don't have gills, and we're the slowest thing out there unless we're on a boat or a plane.
oh, there's things slower than humans.
Okay, what, a crab maybe, and that's about
Snail.
it. It's a snail, but shit, they have some snails down there. If you touch them, they poison you and you're dead, and then all the little
Yeah.
crabs get to eat your
Yeah.
leftovers.
Yeah,
And
but you know,
I just know if you can drown.
they've got big isopods in the Gulf. I don't study them,
What
but
is
I've
that?
seen isopods are basically think like roly polies.
Oh, I used
but
to
like
love I used to
giant
collect
ones.
those, and then when they'd all die,
No,
I'd be
they're like giant. If you, I don't know if that works, but you can Google what they look like.
yeah. Oh, well, I don't know.
And
You
then
know,
there's some like
we have it,
parasitic ones.
and I do want to
in
start
fish.
doing it, but I don't want to. I don't know how fast Trace is about bringing stuff up, but
Just do a giant isopod lumcon.
yeah. And if you want to, Trace, you can just switch to that camera, and then whatever we look at, and we can talk about it.
LUMCON. And that's the research station in Cocodrie.
Oh, okay. Oh, that is a big old roly poly. Look like a crawfish tail too. Look that now. Is that good to eat? Can people eat that?
I don't know. I don't know if you'd really want to eat it. I mean, I wouldn't eat it, but maybe you could. I don't know. Anything in the deep, I kind of am like, better
I don't know.
not.
Catfish is good, and that's a bottom-feeding fish. You never know. That
I
motherfucker
wouldn't
might
eat
be
catfish. Ooh.
What?
Bottom feeders.
Are
Ooh.
you fucking nuts? Catfish is... You see, and that's what I don't understand about people that aren't from here.
You're not gonna like my next statement then either.
Fuck it. Chickens eat their own shit. Chicken's great.
I don't eat crawfish either.
What? Just fucking take the poo line out. I'm telling you, if you purge them, they'll shit the rest of their shit out. And then, if you know how to peel them correctly, as soon as you go,
it's not because it's dirty. I just don't like.
Because it's
the
a
taste.
bottom feed. It's eating everything at the bottom.
No, I just don't like the taste of it.
Fucking what? Oh my God, Trace.
You could have just had some bad crawfish.
I think so. I don't think you've had good crawfish.
Have you ever had? Okay, so here's my question to you: when you've had crawfish, have you had it in a dish or only as crawfish that you have to disassemble with your fingers?
Like boiled crawfish.
Yeah, that one.
You've had boiled crawfish.
Yeah.
Is that the only way you've had it?
Uh huh.
You need to try
So-
fried, you need to try etouffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's also many different ways to boil crawfish. And most people, if somebody boils their crawfish for more than 5 minutes, they fucked it up. Because you only boil it for maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and then you let it soak in the water it boiled in. Turn the fire off for about 20.
Mm-hmm.
That way the meat is cooked, but it absorbs all of the moisture. And then when you peel it, as soon as you bite into it, it's like you get this juice
Maybe
explosion.
I just had a bad.
Steamed crawfish, stay the fuck away from that shit. Them fuckers on the East Coast do that shit. They got like on a buffet line, all the crawfish in a steam tray. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they sprinkle Obey seasoning on. I'm like, fuck that. That is some trash. So no, I mean,
That's weird.
I'm just curious if that would taste good. I'd be
Maybe.
interested.
I
Next
mean,
time
but
y'all
they're,
catch
like,
one, I want to
pretty
boil
deep.
it. You want to eat it with me?
No, well, I mean, there's nothing I wouldn't try.
So hey, we need to catch one of these fuckers, and we need to
They're
boil
very
it.
deep, like super deep.
Have y'all ever caught one though?
No,
Oh, okay. Well,
no, they're like the scavengers of like the ocean floor.
okay.
Like whale carcasses and stuff.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like,
Oh, got you.
one of my grad student friends, her research is they basically put an alligator that died
Mhm.
and tied it, weighed it down, and then just
Did a
let
time
it sit,
lapse?
let it sit on the seafloor just to see if anything would eat it, what would eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And they would see these giant isopods and like some deep sharks and all these things like
Come and get their pieces.
come and getting it, and then
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
how I found out. Oh,
That's what
giant
this is.
isopods exist.
Oh, okay. So it was a
And I knew they
roly-poly on
existed. I just didn't
steroids.
know they were in the Gulf.
Yeah, because you're used to seeing them as kids. If you play in the dirt, you see them crossing over the concrete and stuff like that. But that's their moms and dads right there. In the
They're
ocean.
like,
yeah, look at him.
they're,
Look at him
they're
holding that
big.
one. That's crazy. No, well, so I mean, I'm surprised you haven't pulled one up, but y'all don't go that deep. So I guess maybe in 10,000, 20,000 foot water depth, you'd probably find that, huh? I wonder how many times we drop like pipe or a fucking drill bit into the ground and you crushed one of those and ground it up and it went back through the mud system. Okay, as a lot of y'all have noticed, I got these bags under my eyes. That's what happens when I don't have coffee, y'all. Need coffee. Keeps me energized. It just keeps me happy. And man, sometimes in a podcast, that's all I need. So you can take part in that if you buymeacoffee.com/TEHM. You can get me a coffee every once in a while, guys. Just give me a coffee. You can do it by going to buymeacoffee.com/TEHM. It's just a small way to support the podcast and support what I'm doing if you really appreciate or if you really see where I'm going with it. Yeah, my brain it's like I start thinking of all the things that could be going on. I just know I wouldn't want to be in that environment. I mean, we weren't made for that. We were made to stay on
Well, the
land.
pressure is just absolutely, and then it's dark and cold.
Yeah.
And
We are the insects of the ocean, so they eat us. We can't eat them if we're in their environment. There's no way. We don't belong there. We don't breathe water. So that's why I don't like that stuff. It's fascinating. So many times I'd be on a boat, we'd be transiting somewhere, and I'd look at the water. Water's beautiful, everything. And you know how, what is that in the Iliad or whatever, the sirens that were singing the song? The water's so beautiful, it's like it sings a song to you to jump in. It's so deceitful. But I'm like, hell no, I ain't getting that fucking water. Everything will fucking eat me in 5 minutes. So
I'm sure you'll be fine.
shit. They always say, what is that? You'll float. Fuck no. I'm this big. I'm going to sink. So you ever drop a match in the water? Guess what it does? It falls to the bottom and it doesn't float. So
You just need to learn
shit
how
floats.
to float.
Huh? I mean, I know how, but still, I don't want to be in the water. Fuck, I got a pool back there. I don't even get in that water.
I feel much safer in the water than
land?
Oh yeah.
Are you at your man? I don't know what land. You feel safer in the water than you do sitting right there?
Oh yeah. No. No, not right here. But
Got him.
driving on Johnson. Oh yeah, I feel safer in the water.
Oh well, there are some things that we do that we risk our lives very greatly with. Oh the God. No. So everybody knows what you do now. It's pretty interesting. We're gonna talk more about it. But did you know what I did before the Husky Rescue? You didn't know me, of course. You met me through the Husky Rescue. I don't even think you met me first. I think you met Janice first, huh?
I did.
You did. Y'all go to the
And
park.
I was like, oh, Janice is not the
is not the one that started the organization.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how I like
And
it
then,
to. I like
yeah.
it to be where she does it first. She's more friendly. She's more warm. Because like I think a lot of people when I'm in public, I don't want to be in the public. I don't want to be around a crowd of people. That's just me. I too many people. More than 2 people is too many for me. It really is. I'm not saying.
I'm starting to get like that.
Well, you get that way when you're older and you're just really sick of fucking bullshit. It's a way to eliminate bullshit. You eliminate so many people, you eliminate the bullshit. I mean, like, this was fine, this format here. I'm good. So, I mean, we go to the park, and I don't know if you realize, something's wrong with that guy. He's awkward. He wants to walk away. Or
I actually never got that vibe. I was like, okay, who's...
Oh, okay. Well, nonetheless, maybe that's my perception of myself because that's what I'm thinking in my head.
I was like, oh, he's nice. He's cool.
Okay, well, I'm glad I came off as nice because I make sure Janice does the first initial meet because she is so bubbly and warm.
She is a very good people person.
Yes.
And I love her.
Oh, God. She's so great at it. I don't know what I'd do without her. But nonetheless, so through the Husky Rescue, I know I came out to the park and I met you for the first time when y'all were getting ready to get Loki because I was able to go out there and not as much mess was going on. But did you know what I did?
Not at first.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you saw all the colors on my SUV. I was like, what the fuck is that shit? This guy is crazy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
So, automotive detailing. That is what I do. And, I mean, when you think of automotive detailing, what comes to mind to you?
Now?
No.
Or
before you knew me.
Oh,
what was automotive
detailing?
detailing?
Oh, yeah. Honestly, it was like, a nice, clean car with wax, wash and wax.
So you thought maybe 15 minutes cleaning it, water hose out in the...
I did not know it was a whole science behind everything.
Were you taught anything growing up about cleaning a vehicle or anything like that?
Here's a vacuum at the quarter station, vacuum it up.
Okay.
Wash it.
Yeah, a lot of people,
I barely know how to change a tire.
Okay, well.
My dad was in and out.
But you can read, though, right?
Oh, I can read.
Okay. We know you got a master's, so you have to be able to read.
I can change oil. Well, sort of change the oil. I can check the oil.
Uh-huh.
I can change a tire.
Uh-huh. Because aren't you teaching your fiance how to change a tire now, too, right?
Yeah, that was fun. And then I'm like, oh, man, this is what my dad felt like. Crap.
This frustration.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is why my dad never taught me this.
He was like, well, he's only going to take in so much of this, and we're just, screw it.
Well, funny story, like my dad, well, not funny story, but like my dad was in and out of my life, like in my teen years, which is like critical on trying to figure out, because my mom didn't know how to do any of this stuff.
Yeah.
All the things he taught me, I was like, oh. That's illegal. Oh, I know how to do this, and this. When is that going to come into play?
Do these skills cross over to this? Probably not.
Yeah, so
detailing then is cleaning, waxing. So I take that to the next level. I hate to say I answer the phone to most people and, they're like, oh, can I bring my car by? And so my business is appointment based. If you're going to leave your vehicle with me for up to about 5 days, then that is the type of detailing I do. I'll just put it that way. It's going to be very, very meticulously done, and it's going to give you something back in better condition than you've ever seen it before. Because as you even said that little keyword, it's a science. It really is. You need to know what to use to get it to its best condition. and you have to do it properly. There's many shortcuts and many ways, and like there's guys turning around vehicles and they say that they can make them look new, but what they're using is sometimes fillers and glazes and stuff like that, and waxes that are a little bit thicker. But you have to keep doing that over and over and over. My typical clients, they bring it to me and I don't see them ever again. That is how I like for them to be taken care of. I want you to get the best experience. I will teach you how to upkeep it, and might be a bad business model, but I think there's the need for it in the area. I could have a new client probably for the rest of my life. That's how many people we have in this area. Our population is going up to almost 500,000 people. Oh, wow. We're growing a little bit, and that includes Cairn Crow and Youngsville and Broussard, but the last census said 412,000 people were here, and that was 2019's census. Or 2018. I can't remember. It was the latest one, and I just can't remember if it was 2018 or 2019, because sometimes they skip a couple years. But yeah, I want that experience so that they know that if you can take care of it, you don't need to have a vehicle detailed every month or every 2 months or every 6 months. I'm not a money guy. I really am not. I do charge a lot initially, but I'll give you the chemicals for free. And I give you printed out documentation on everything that I say, and you can compare that to what you can learn online, and you tell me which one works best for your situation. So, I mean, your car, what do you use it for?
Well, all I go is from here to campus, from my house, which is about a half mile to campus. But now it's just been like, oh, I'm driving the Huskies to the dog park now.
Yep.
Which is where all my miles are now.
So let me guess, your car gets cleaned every day then. Okay, so every year then. Am I closer to that?
I think, well...
Please tell me it doesn't look like Mac's car.
No. I picked up the trash because I knew I was picking up someone.
Oh shit, Trace, you got the royal treatment, man.
I didn't vacuum.
How did it look, Trace?
I mean, I really wasn't paying attention.
Well, Loki doesn't go in the front.
How the fuck do you not pay attention when you get in somebody's car?
I'm grateful for the ride.
Loki's not in the front seat, so all the hair's in the back.
But you can tell when as soon as you open the door, what you're sitting in, what you're about to sit in. And no offense to you, but every car I get in, I'm jumping. And it's not like I'm gonna tear you, rip you apart. I'm just gonna be like, oof.
At most, there's like coffee stains from when I'm driving and sipping.
I'm just oblivious.
But
I do this because, like, right now, I'm Ubering a little bit, and I get in them, and it's like,
I don't think the inside of my car is bad, but it totally needs vacuumed. I really need to vacuum it.
Is it because you don't have the time for it? And, you know, we all have priorities. My priority is a vehicle because that's just my passion. I love it. Mine is dirty too, though. You walk in mine, and yes, and like you, I will have a coffee stain on the side because guess what? I drive fast, and sometimes the little thing tips over, and it kind of dribbles.
The speed bumps in Louisiana.
Yeah. Well, I'm higher off the ground. It's not really speed. It's the fact that I fucking use a Porsche for what it is. I'm driving. I'm ultimately moving around in very fast ways. So, I mean, mine is dirty because I'm always taking care of everybody else's stuff. So mine gets the lack of attention, and I do care about it. From that, I would figure school, Huskies,
it's just
everything like that. Cleaning is probably the last priority.
The cleaning day is like, man, I'd be lucky just to clean the house. But honestly though, like, so lately with all the COVID stuff.
And look, there's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
We have life.
It's just
I just like knowing people.
I go to the lab
idea.
at nighttime now because of COVID. I don't want to see people. I don't want to interact with them.
Yeah.
So I'll go to the lab maybe 9, 10 at night, stay until 3 in the morning, come back, sleep, and then repeat.
Yeah.
And
so you have that option. You can go in whenever you want.
I've got keys to the building. They will let me go in whenever. I'm very fortunate that I have that luxury.
Yeah.
And then I can also do a lot of my data analysis at home.
So you do the work, make your notes, and do final reports at home type of thing? Okay. I can kind of relate because the technical work that I did,
so I have that luxury. Other people do not have that luxury. And, like my fiance, like he has to go to work like
At a scheduled
at
time.
a scheduled
and
time.
he can't
and there's-
change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that at least gives me flexibility to be like, okay, you work from when to when? Okay. When you get off work, I'll just go to the lab when you come back home.
That's good. That's
you
good.
know?
And that works especially if one vehicle's only available.
Yeah,
As you
yeah.
said, you've got one that's not working, so you can adjust, which is great.
Yeah, but long story short, cleaning the car.
Yeah.
With time plus, I don't even know where to start, honestly. I don't like vacuuming
Yeah.
is probably.
That's probably the only thing you really, for what you use your car for,
But
is probably
yeah.
the only thing you really should keep
But
up
like
with.
the outside, like it's never been. I know it can be nicer on the outside.
Do you
but
have
I've
clear
never-
coat peeling on it or anything?
I don't what.
So okay, so the way
Sorry.
no. So you're gonna teach me things, and I'm gonna teach you things, of course. So with clear coat, with the way all your exterior metals and plastics are painted, is they're gonna have your bare substrate. You're gonna have a primer, which kind of helps smooth out things and helps whatever you put on top of it next bond and stay. And then you have your paint, and then you have your clear coat. Clear coat is just, as it said, it's a clear coating on top of the paint that keeps the paint from coming off. Because regular paint, if it gets damaged, it chips, it'll start peeling off all the way. So, but your clear coat can peel as well. And sometimes you'll see vehicles that have not had the attention they need, which just means always having protection, always being waxed, always being buffed on, and things like that.
Oh, I don't think.
Where the white stuff
Yeah.
starts peeling off. You start seeing it. Or if your car is like red and you see a big white spot, and no matter how much you scrub, the white spot is there, and it's very, very prominent. Do you have any of that going on?
I think I just have to look at it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
So-
ever given the attention to look.
Okay. Well,
So
there's nothing wrong with it. Of
Yeah.
course, in my world, I would say, like, if I had to work on
I
it,
would love like
it would cost a lot
if I
of money.
if I saw examples like what to look at,
Mhm.
I would totally be more like aware of being like, oh,
Type in clear coat failure, Trace, and we'll.
and then I can I can keep you updated on that
Yeah.
because
Well,
I like the idea of like taking better care of my car
Yeah.
because I want it to last at least.
so pretty much this example here of this of the blue one here, and you see how it's got this frosted area.
Yeah. Oh, I think so.
So and look, that's a severe version of it right there.
I know a car back in Hawaii had that.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of them that run around town here. I got some clients. They're
I
starting
don't think
to.
it's that bad though.
Well, you can have mild cases of it. Like this is a mild case, and that's actually fixable. But whenever it's it's gone. There's nothing you can do to save that. Some people are like, oh, I'll sand it. No, well, now you've just sanded whatever was left of the clear coat off,
And now you
have
gotta
exposed
repaint it.
paint. And you can make the paint look shiny like the clear coat, but a month later it's going to be dulled out because the paint's not even protected. And most paints don't have the protection needed to keep them
I
looking
know
like they're supposed
Christian's
to.
car
Years.
has it like that, but
Mac's car, that SUV he had, I looked at it and it was like it looked like the Sahara Desert in it. The floorboard was.
well, he does
this
take it
dirt-
everywhere in
Oh,
the
yeah.
desert.
Well, not even just the desert. He's in the mountains. And I'm jealous of where he gets to go.
I am so jealous. We're in the same program. I'm just like, how do you have time for this? I am so jealous.
Every
But I
time-
do get to go to Hawaii a few times a year
And-
to
and-
do research.
And everybody, we say Mac because Mac is another. He's a
He's
foster
a good friend and a colleague of mine.
and he's adopted Huskies, and that's how I know him. But he's always known Ron for a while. But yeah, I mean, I looked at the inside of that because he asked me what I did, and I told him, and he goes, "Don't go look at mine." I said, "I already did. It's horrible."
Well, you can look at mine anytime and tell me because
what you're telling me is just typical most people have. If you're on the go and the car is not a priority, for you the car is not a priority as long as it gets to you to where you need to go. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just if you came to me, it would be very, very expensive because it would probably start at $540 just for the outside. The inside,
yeah, that's like half my paycheck.
yeah,
in
we
the
can't.
month.
I'd never do that to you unless you were like, Tim, I swear I'm gonna get it done.
I'll need a few months to save up. and then
Don't
I'll-
worry about that. You're doing great with the Husky, so just stick with that. I need you more there than taking your salary away from me. But I mean, yeah. So that's clear coat failure, and
I had a car like that.
yeah,
I didn't know what it was.
and newer vehicles are more susceptible to this
Oh,
if you
really?
don't protect them because, like these older vehicles that are in the mid 2000s up to 2010.
Yeah, mine's like a 2005.
It takes a lot to get them to that because those clear coats were harder.
Oh,
and they weren't
so
as
they
fragile.
changed the formula.
Pretty much, the newer clear coats are softer. I can get a 2020 vehicle and basically guarantee you 90%. Somebody can tell me I just bought a new vehicle, got a brand new truck that just got dropped off today at the shop. It needs $540 worth of correction work, which means I've got to dig into the clear coat and level it out and make it look like it's supposed to. It's a brand new truck, and she's washed it maybe 3 times, but she's getting it coated because she knows another client of mine that she does business with, and she sees their trucks.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, how do you keep yours? Yours is 2 years old and it looks great. And he's like, well, ceramic coated, you need to, it's harder. It's a new shell on top of the clear coat to protect it since the clear coats are so soft. So, yeah.
So what kind of things can...
Well, for you right now, if you have clear coat failure, there's nothing you can do. Just leave it alone.
I was meaning like what deteriorates? Like
the sun, oxidation, the weather, things sitting on it. If sometimes I see these vehicles going around town and they got mold spots on them, because they park under trees. It depends on...
Yeah, we have a lot of pollen where I live.
Well, pollen's okay. I mean, that just will make a nice little layer. You can easily get that off.
Yeah,
but when you have mold, tree sap, all these things that start sitting on the surface and eating through the clear coat, some of that's irreparable. I've honestly seen brand new vehicles with chemical etched, which means a chemical ate through the clear coat and ate through the paint down to the metal on a brand new vehicle. So just think if you just left your vehicle alone and you're parking in all these crazy places and it's been 5-10 years since you've waxed it and gave it a good, TLC, a spa day is what some people call it. Then you start having this, because after you clean it, then you've exposed this. You've gotten rid of all the dirt, and now you see, oh, that shit damaged my clear coat. It just depends on how much the car is worth to you. But mind you, you said you're finishing up, a PhD, and you're volunteering with us, and you're doing all this. That's not the priority for you. I think just cleaning the inside should be the most important thing for you. Because, I mean, do you have asthma or allergies or anything like that?
I've got pretty bad asthma sometimes.
That's what keeps that irritated. You know that. I mean, fuck, you're the biology man. So that type of detailing is what I do. And I'm not the type of person to give you a bunch of bullshit because I need your money. Like most guys that are out there detailing, they will say, oh, I can fix all of that. It's going to cost you $900 and blah, 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 blah. And then make sure you come see me next year. I'm not that type of person. No.
Well, if I get a different car or like situation change.
No, you need to.
I will totally.
What did you tell me earlier? You started an OnlyFans. What's the address?
Well.
I mean, yeah, because
stay tuned.
That's gonna just make sure you buy a Lamborghini Aventador. That's what I want to work on. I need one of those to come into my shop. So OnlyFans charge the maximum. Get that out there. I mean, you have a fiance, y'all can. Hey, you can double it. Can't you make charge double?
The Huskies. Come on, subscribe for the Huskies. It's what gives them fed.
And what that address is? OnlyFans Aaron Carter or whatever it is.
You're ridiculous.
Yeah. So yeah, but after you knew me though, what did you think of maybe just learning those things? Was it something you think is beneficial for most people that have vehicles and stuff like that?
At first, when I was looking at all this, I was like, oh man, I'm overwhelmed with all these options. I have no idea what that meant. Yeah. And then then I was like looking into it more, and I was like, oh, actually, this like changes my perspective, and it doesn't have to be this like high end show car kind of thing. No. It can be just
not at all
a maintenance just so it doesn't.
But there's a right and a wrong way of doing it when it comes to keeping it looking the way it needs to look. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do the most expensive thing, which is what some people are doing in my shop, getting the most they can. Just fine. They can afford it. I wouldn't be able to afford it right now, but I'm grateful that there's still people that are spending that much to do it. But it's for you, me, there's ways to make sure that you don't damage your clear coat and just keep it up. Because, I mean, that's how I started. I started with just correcting them and just using, high-quality waxes and sealants. But you have to make sure the surface is perfect so that they stay bonded to the surface for as long.
And that makes sense. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and it's like your science. There's things there's effects because of this and that and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, we'll go back to this ocean. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to compare it. I mean, what do you think of the ocean? All the life. What comes to mind
Well, you're talking to somebody who likes to aquascape. So, I mean...
What is that?
Aquascaping?
Yeah,
So,
what is that?
basically, I like fresh water because I feel like salt water is too much. You have extra parameters you have to deal with. You know, fresh water, I just have to deal with the pH, the hardness. It's been a while since I've had an aquarium, but like a freshwater aquarium with live plants, and I go in and like bonsai.
Oh, wow.
So you're not even familiar with this.
I've never heard of the term. I didn't know that was like.
Yeah, because y'all are not aquascaping the ocean. It does that on its own.
Yeah, when we collect the stuff, we just like let it grow in tanks, and then we just.
It does its own thing.
Yeah,
you don't have to tend to it.
Like,
but that's a natural way of studying it. It letting it do its thing. But go ahead with your aquascaping.
So aquascaping is like let's say I'll pick some fish from a certain part of the world, and it's like, okay, everybody kind of lives in the same water. Then I'll do the same thing with the plants, but like here, let's go to this, so that way you can kind of see, because it's like bonsai.
Yeah, and do you know?
Natural.
I do not have a green thumb at all.
Oh, I don't either.
So this is the inside of the aquarium.
What the fuck?
Oh, so it's just like, okay.
Wait a minute, that's the inside of an aquarium? That looks like a forest.
Yep, and like people would take driftwood and then they'll tie plants to it, like some algae, and then it'll adhere naturally, and then it'll just grow and look like trees.
Oh yeah.
So it'll plant roots in the driftwood and.
Oh, come on.
Wait, what are you doing?
I'm trying to
zoom in, I think. But
Yeah.
Just right click, open image, and new tab.
Oh, and I can't see. Of course. How do we go back?
Oh, you can't go. It opened it in a new tab. Just close that tab out.
oh, I see it now.
See this tab up here? Just click on that little tab. You'll go back. There you go. Right click, open image, and new tab. And let's see what it does. And then you need to close that tab out. There's another tab after it, though. There you go. Oh, it's a very small image. That's why. It's not going to make it any bigger. Unless you do Control plus.
But see how these look like trees?
Yeah.
These are fish, not birds. So, yeah, like you'll just have fish swimming around.
How much time does that take?
As
How
much
long would
time
it
as
take
you
to make
put
that
it-
tank look like that? I'm pretty sure it looked like shit when you start, huh?
Well, first you start with the plants and you just get like the nitrogen cycle going, and then you get your plants to where you want them to be, because you really don't want to mess around with fish in there, and you just it gets to where it needs to be, and then all
I
you
am
do is
not this
maintain it.
artistic.
I don't have the patience for that. I barely had the patience to make sure the tank was clean down there. I was like, y'all guys are fucking this up way more than a Husky does a house.
Well, I'm not looking at it as I'm cleaning. I'm looking at it as I'm gardening. You know.
Well, you're creating a scene, is what you're doing.
It's pretty.
Yeah. Can you make one for me?
I mean, if you want me to.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't, because I'm gonna kill it probably in a week. I probably
You're not
would.
gonna kill it in a week unless you're like adding things to it, but.
There's no way I could make that shit stay looking like that.
I mean, yeah, it's just keeping up with your filter because it's freshwater. Did you have a freshwater?
Yeah, it was a freshwater tank. Now, mind you, I didn't do what most people do. You put your little drops and all. No, I didn't use any fucking chemicals. I had some fucking African cichlids. No, stop. This is a very rugged fish. I had African cichlids in there that pretty much thrived on their own, and I would leave the bio wheels the way they were, maybe rinse them out every once in a while, and I would take the filters and I'd rinse those out. I'd use the same filters for an entire year, but I'd just rinse them out probably every month, and then boom, put it back in there. The water stayed clear as shit, and I don't know what happened. Something got introduced in it when I added a second Phycologist to it. That little Phycologist brought some kind of funky algae with him. He pooped out some bullshit, and it just took over.
Well, a lot of that is probably because of excess nutrients. So with fish, like, they poop, and that's all the nutrients. And the nutrients are what the algae use. And they'll, like,
and they can
absorb
grow and
it,
flourish and stuff.
That'll boom.
So it was just some stuff that would just, I mean, of course, it was dark green. It wasn't pretty and all that stuff, but it would go away for a while, and then it would just come back like a little wildfire. And I was like, y'all motherfuckers got crabs. I don't know what to do about it. I'm not putting chlorinated drops or dechlorinated drops. I'm not buying all that shit because you guys were doing fine until that other little fucker went in there. Y'all have a talk with him and tell him he needs to get his shit straight. So that was it. And I mean, but it for the most part, as far as like the rocks, everything on the inside, it stayed fairly nice. It was just on the fucking glass that shit
Could
was
have
growing.
added a snail into
Really?
graze it.
See, I didn't think of that either. I thought of getting some other little bottom things that crawled around. I'd bought some little fish that ate stuff at the bottom, but the Phycologist ate the fish because I saw one hanging out of his mouth. I was like, you're supposed to be sucking up algae, not the fucking bottom feeders. I know he got a belly full of algae, but damn, you thought this was like the casino? If I rob the fucking machine, I get more?
They're opportunistic. They'll give him the chance.
Yeah. One of them ate a fish.
Oh, yeah.
He ate because one of the cichlids had one eye, and I guess he died, and I didn't catch it because at night he was okay. The next day he was gone, and there was a tail hanging out the Phycologist. So I was like, you ate my fucking one-eyed friend? Holy shit. That's crazy. So they're just as bad as people. If they can take advantage of somebody, they will. It's like, oh, fish, you only got one eye. I'm going to come from this side and up.
I mean, it's animal world.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll
If a fish can fit in another fish's mouth, you can kiss the smaller fish.
No, a Phycologist. A Phycologist would have to do some, would have to like suck
Oh,
your
they'll-
heart out first.
They'll find a way.
Yeah, the tail was hanging out of his sucker, and he was just floating, like he was hovering above the rocks because he was full, and his belly was swole up. I was like, you're supposed to eat the green shit in here, not the.
I've seen videos of pelicans eat other birds.
Hey, I got a question.
Yeah.
So you're on campus, right?
Yep.
By the student union, y'all still have the swamps, right?
Oh, yeah.
So back in 2006, I had 2 turtles and a Phycologist, and I took them to the swamp and I dumped them. Dustin was still going there. As a friend of mine, Dustin, he was graduating, and he said he swore he saw that fucking Phycologist because Phycologist looks like a little shark. He could have swore he saw one that was like big. I would think it would thrive in a swamp though.
I don't know too much about the environment they live in to answer that, but
Phycologist only
there's-
eat algae and the shit we don't think is
maybe.
pretty.
I mean, but then there's a lot of
He swore it looked like a shark, a dark brown
there's-
shark with spots,
there's
and that's what a
another
Phycologist
fish.
looks like.
in there. I think it's an alligator something.
Mhm.
I don't remember what they called it.
Alligator
Yeah.
Oh, that's a vicious
gar?
animal.
They don't look nothing
No.
like Plecos. An alligator gar almost looks like an oarfish or like a paddlefish. They're
Yeah.
those long fishes with the super long snouts.
Oh, it's
I don't
pointy
pay
though.
attention too much on what's in there. I just go there and I'll be like, oh, look, a gator.
Yeah.
I've never been that close to a gator. Okay, bye.
Yeah, but those are friendly, docile ones because they're just eating shit there, and people probably throwing chips and shit at it and stuff
Oh,
like
I
that.
guarantee you.
Oh yeah. I mean,
And
every
then
once
there's
in a while,
like the red ear sliders in there too.
yeah, a little squirrel falls in, they eat that, and they're just chilling.
You
Yeah.
take 'em to Lake
They're
Martin.
living the life.
Yeah, Lake Martin. Yeah, those are the ones that walk up to the car, and you think they go pop your tire, but they're like, "Feed me,"
Oh,
because people have been feeding them.
I haven't seen.
And then of
one
course you got the ones that just want to eat people. So, and I think those are the ones that have been around for 30 years.
Well, see,
before
that's
people got used and curious around Lake
Oh,
Martin.
God. Oh, that's why I study seaweeds.
Okay, so I guess I got another question too. Or since you're on UL again, have y'all studied the algae that's in the swamps there, or is there much to study in there, or
There
have y'all
are.
introduced anything there to try to you expose the swamp to this new thing to try? I guess have y'all contaminated the swamp with anything?
I don't think they have
Mhm.
like studied the algae there, but
Because I always wondered what was the real purpose besides it being a pretty thing for people to see, a piece of Louisiana
I've
nature
heard
there.
a bunch of different things about it, but
Mhm.
I'm not. I mean,
I just wonder if that Phycologist is there, because I'm very curious about that too. I would think that y'all would study and experiment with that swamp.
well, we focus more on like the oceanic side of
Mhm.
like marine algae.
Well, what do you think about the oil spills? How did that impact what was going on in the
Oh,
Gulf of Mexico?
So we
Did y'all see a dramatic change?
well, from what I've been told by my lab mates, because I wasn't there but it's been what 10 years, maybe 11.
I think 11, yeah. 10-year
Yeah.
anniversary, I think this was last year.
From what I've been told from my advisor and some lab mates who have been there
Mhm.
for a while, that we see a lot of seaweeds still, but it's not as abundant or diverse in areas that it once was.
So you think
before.
it killed off a lot of the life?
Oh, I'm sure.
Like a petroleum product has a very damaging effect on any kind of life.
It does, and
which is weird because what is petroleum? Petroleum is what? Isn't that some kind of a natural thing that the earth produces when something dies off or fossilized? Or I can't remember. I'm not I think that's geology once again, because we had geologists on the drill ship that could talk about the petroleum and all the pockets and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I remember going on the ship one time, and we brought on a big rock, like huge, like this big, and they cracked it open, and inside you could see a layer of oil deposit in the rock itself.
Oh, wow.
And like that left probably one of the biggest impressions like of me, like that was like, holy crap, like
it's captured. It is a part of history.
It's literally in that rock, just like trees have, their rings.
Their growth rings.
This has a marker that this happened.
And imagine how much life it killed, when it was fresh, when it blanketed everything.
See, that to me, if I saw that in person, I probably would just be like, I don't even know where to start. And like how devastating that was, not just
I think
for
Dawn
the animal
made a lot
life,
of
but
money
just
off of
like,
it.
yeah.
Dawn dishwashing detergent made a lot of money.
And that's what I remember is just like Dawn, like the Dawn commercials.
Yeah.
And it saddens me like that this happens. Like,
and that's just through the negligence of humans. We're just destroying everything. That's all we are. We're just that's why, as we were joking around earlier, the aliens don't want shit to do with us. I believe in aliens, but I don't think they want anything to do with our fucking destructive
I don't
asses.
blame them.
I mean, we don't cherish life. I mean, every time, and I even had this explanation. It's not, and just to get away from the ocean, just an example of how destructive or how influential in negative ways we are as humans. Think of, we're rescue. We work in rescue. So we rescue animals that people have bred and given to somebody else irresponsibly that they threw away. Who are we as a species of animal to force another animal to procreate outside of the normal cycle of procreation so that we can capitalize off of it? I think that is the shittiest thing that anybody can do. I don't think anybody would enjoy having their children forced to have sex to make more humans so that we could sell them off to somebody. And I don't think people will think of that. Even though it's an animal, and it didn't evolve as fast as we did, even though I do think that there's some manipulation and some monkey DNA to make us, what's weird. Monkeys have been around longer than human beings, but why did we succeed? Why did we evolve so quickly without some kind of DNA manipulation by an outside source? Well, that's how I feel.
Well, I guess then it just really talks about, like, when we talk about evolution, right? Like, we're talking about, like, a shared ancestor, not necessarily, like, us, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but at the same time, why did they not evolve as fast as humans did? Even though it's proof that they have been around longer than us. How did we evolve 100-fold in a short period of time when they've been around for how long? I mean, I'm no historian or archaeologist that keeps finding all these bones that keep proving how old humankind is, or Homo sapiens and all the ones. What do they call the ones before the Homo sapiens?
Homo erectus.
Homo erectus, yeah. And but it's parallel to the life of monkeys, things like that. So it's like, how did we evolve so quickly? But to get off of that topic, who are we to force an animal to have sex for our capital gain? I think that is the shittiest type of thing, and that's why I say we're the most destructive. We're fucking everything.
Oh, totally.
Up. We're fucking everything up.
Because
no
byproduct. We're changing the climate before people can, before things can adapt.
And no byproduct of human life is beneficial to the planet, except for when we die, which shows that we don't even need to be here. Because when we die, we just feed the earth. So the earth didn't even need us to begin with, only to eat us when we die. That is the only benefit that the planet has, which is sad. And we know this, but we won't fix it. I'm just not educated enough to fix it. I mean,
it's very human centric, like
yeah,
like, you know.
Yeah, and I guess that's and maybe that's I don't know. It's just
There's
weird
so
how
many
we're just.
things.
Well, it's weird how we've destroyed an ecosystem we don't even live in.
And species, like
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
We don't have gills. We don't live in it. We don't do anything to it but destroy it. And
not just things in the ocean. Like, everything's connected. Like, all this deforestation and all that. Like, in Hawaii, they call it, Mauka to Makai, so mountain to ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is connected. Like,
wait, say that slowly again. What is it?
It's Mauka
to
Makai.
to Mukai?
Makai. Yeah.
Wait, say
Mauka
Mauka to Makai.
to Makai.
Mauka to Makai.
And
Okay.
so that's basically saying from land to sea.
I have a question.
Sure.
Before we carry on, if you're speaking native tongue in Hawaii, is there a rhythm in which you have to say things? Like, if you say it faster.
I don't know enough about the language to.
Okay. How long did you live there, though?
About 10 years.
10 years? Okay. So you don't have, like, native relatives that are there? or anything
No.
like that? Okay.
No.
Okay.
I took maybe a year or two of Hawaiian language, but that was in 2009.
It was to get by?
It was like to know enough, like
where's the water? Where's the store?
I mean, a lot of people speak English too, so basically just like the French, the Cajun French here.
Mm-hmm.
Not too long ago, the Hawaiian language was banned, and
Where? In Hawaii?
mm-hmm,
Why?
because of colonists, and they banned the
Boy,
language.
Simon got that on point with fucking
And
colonization right
was-
there.
And it's very sad. So there's generations that because it's not like other European languages where everything's written down.
Yeah.
Hawaiian language is
Just passed down.
very oral tradition, and many Polynesian languages are oral and not necessarily written. I mean, now it's more written because,
Yeah. You know what I just thought of? Fucking hell. Fucking Europeans colonizing everything.
Mhm.
I just realized something.
Oh, yeah.
They have they have full control because the motherfuckers will go invade something, take over it, civilize it, and then when you try to bring it back, they go, it's appropriation of the culture, so you don't take the culture in. What kind of bullshit is that?
Mm-hmm.
So they want full foothold control over every fucking thing. Even the culture they fucking took over by telling you, don't fucking say that or you're culturally misappropriating or reappropriating. Dude, fucking reappropriate all you want. It's called celebrating the fucking culture. Mix it. That's how this world gets better. That's why mixed people better than pure white folk. And that's a throw out there to all the relatives that said, what do they say? The white people ain't gonna like you and the black people ain't gonna accept you. You just a mulatto antichrist. Well, fuck you. Doing better than... No, that's what I dealt with growing up. Oh, yeah. No, that's a reality right there.
Oh, God.
And I think that's... And that also triggers my my need for validation, my need for an answer when I ask something. Even if it's no, please don't ignore me. And it's because of those little things that got ingrained in me. I know it at least, and I try to work on it. But, oh, my God, I know that's the reason why I can't stand when people like the fucking T podcast ignoring me. Or fucking when I ask people to do something, they just, okay. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, hey, did you do it? Crickets.
Did you set a date, Ron? Hey, Ron, don't forget to set a date.
No.
I'm like, oh, shit, sorry. I thought I did.
All of those little things trigger from that bullshit. But going back to sea life before we go way too far out into that other baseball field on the other side of the park, I mean, we'll go back to your study, algae. We talked about how it's like in that shoe sole, which is really, really crazy. We could make byproducts that could replace some of the energy things that we do. What
And anytime you go to the dentist and you get the impressions,
What do you mean impressions?
like, your molds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's made from algae products.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though that hardens and everything,
Uh-huh.
what's mixed in with it? Do you know?
So it's called sodium alginate. It's in brown algae. So think like kelps and like other
So is that
brown
why
algae.
whenever I swallow it, I can poop it out and it don't kill me because it's actually something natural?
I mean,
The reason
that's
why I
a
know
whole
is
other discussion of just because it's natural doesn't mean it's safe, because cyanide is natural.
well, I accidentally swallowed a piece of that. Doing one of those in-home dental evaluation things because I thought about doing the little Invisalign shit, and I was like, why the fuck? I'm 40 something years old. I don't fucking care about Invisalign. Somebody don't like the way my teeth are fucking lined up. Go fuck yourself, you stupid materialistic. Oh wait, is that materialistic? Oh no, that's pretentious. Pretentiousness. So yeah, no, that's why, because I swallowed a piece of it, and I was like, oh, it didn't
It
bother
might
me.
just degrade like from the acids, and so
Is it the same stuff that are those molds the same thing as like what is that stuff called? In 2006, I had my wisdom teeth, and one of them had a hole in it, and it was just because I could never, the way it pointed, I could never keep it clean. So it
I totally get it.
okay, so I had to keep putting this stuff called Dentemp in.
No, I think that's different, but
Because it said it was like a concrete mixed with something else. It got hard and it would last for like 3 months, and then it would just fall apart, and I'd end up swallowing it most times. So I didn't know if that was made out of like an algae product too.
maybe.
Because it didn't say it didn't say that you could not ingest it. Because I guess they would figure, we need to make something that they can ingest. Because what if it falls out? So yeah, I was just wondering if that was algae too. Who
Maybe.
knows? Well, maybe
Maybe
that's
not.
a new.
I don't know.
Maybe that's a new paper you can write. You can find out.
No,
if
I'm good.
Oh, oof.
Someone else can do that.
Oh, good. So, okay, PhDs, I'm familiar with it because my ex was a historian. He got his master's, and then he went for a PhD and master's, and I think he got it now. I don't know. Simon would be able to tell me. I'd find out because I don't talk to him. But you have to
understand.
do like these dissertation, or you have to write a dissertation.
yeah.
What do
We
you
have to.
are you working on one right now?
I am. So basically, how it goes is you have, well, in my case, I'll have 5 chapters, like one over-encompassing introduction, and then 4 data-driven chapters. And it's basically encompassing everything that I've done throughout the years, and somewhere along the line, I'll do a dissertation proposal, basically telling my committee, hey, this is what I plan to do. And then a few years later, I'll defend all my results of all these chapters and get it published.
Are you trying to prove it or disprove it? Or are you trying to add to it?
Well, basically,
To things that are already in place?
Yeah, so basically what I'm doing is just kind of adding novel contributions to science. And so it doesn't have to be I discovered this new thing, it's going to save lives. Like, it's just something that may have been known about something else, but now this is a new aspect, whether it's nobody's done it in the Gulf of Mexico, or nobody's done it on this particular organism, and maybe we don't know what this organism is, and so my research is figuring out what it is, because with a lot of seaweeds, especially what I study, the rhodoliths, a lot of people just think they're just rocks. They're all the same. They're just crust on the rocks, whatever. And they're actually not. They're like very different, even though they look the same.
But isn't algae like a vital part of the ecosystem?
Yes. So
because everything is feeding off of this algae, and
correct.
isn't it? I guess in its natural habitat, there's a byproduct that everything feeds off of in the ocean from algae. So do you think if seaweed and algae disappeared from the ocean,
Oh, it would be a disaster.
it would wipe out?
So seaweeds not only are a food source, like not just the coralline algae that I study, they're a little more tougher, so only certain things will eat it. But compared to like sea lettuce, which is like ulva, which is like more like greeny, like like lettuce, like more planty.
It's pretty. It's the
Yeah,
attractive.
It's very like, ooh, look at me.
I'm showing off.
Yeah.
I'm the best person in the club.
But
Give me a
literally,
drink.
but if you ever see lettuce that is huge, don't go in the water because they're indicators of pollution.
Really?
So like sewage pollution specifically. So if you see a lot of it growing, don't go in that water because it might have poop. I mean, all water has poop in it.
Oh,
but
it's
this might
fertilized
have,
so
like,
well. It made this nasty, beautiful stuff that's eating.
oh yeah.
Ooh.
And then the fish will eat it. That's fine, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like, humans can eat sea lettuce. If it's grown properly.
Eating that shit. I don't even eat regular lettuce. Fuck that.
That's your loss. It actually kind of tastes good.
It ain't my loss.
Yeah.
More for you. How about that?
Okay.
Oh, look, Alexa's listening to us. I did plug in Alexa too. So if we randomly want to ask her some bullshit, we can. I'm trying to figure out, every once in a while, all of them in the house go bling, and a little orange ring goes in the top.
The government's listening
I'm
to
like,
you.
well, fuck you too. You should have said something.
It's the government. They're listening.
I don't fucking care. They got my social security number. I mean, they gave me a social security number. They know everything about me anyway. Shit. And that's one thing I don't understand about people. I'm trying to protect my privacy. Do you have social media? Yeah. Do you have a social security number? Yeah. There's no fucking privacy in your life. How about that? You have an Alexa device in your house? Yeah. You have no fucking privacy in your life. Mm-hmm. I have an ex that likes to hide his last name still. I'm like, you know how silly that is? I think I'd be proud to have one of the few last names of that kind. Where does Dugar come from?
Fuck. We don't even know. I mean, I've Googled it one time, and it looks like it's Pakistani, but I don't look Pakistani. I think I'm related to some Dugas.
And they got rid of the S and put a R. Like, we ain't no Dugar, we Dugar. Oh, Grey Poupon. That's what they did. Where do Kittles come from?
German, Irish, British? I don't know.
Because I tried to figure that out. First time I was like, where the fuck is this dude from?
Yeah.
Because I can't figure out if you were mixed with anything. I honestly thought of the barbarians from Gladiator. Which means you have a deep ancestry going on there. Like, you toppled the Roman Empire. So, I mean,
I don't know.
But that's Germany, isn't it? Weren't they considered Germanic barbarians back then? Is that what it was? Maybe.
I don't know.
Are you German?
I am German. I'm German, Irish, and a bunch of other things.
That's where the fuck I get it from.
I don't know.
You fucking barbarian.
There's a bunch of other things. I don't know.
Wildling is what he is. You are. Second oldest civilization is it the Russians or is it the Scandinavians, the second longest civilization? I mean, I don't know if they were going on at the same time because you had so much nomadic stuff going on, people moving from place to place. But I know, of course, Africa is where life started, of course. But where did where did white culture start? Caucasian culture, because they're pale, they lack melanin, which means you're in colder temperatures or lack of no sun and stuff like that. So you're a little bit more.
And that's funny because I hate the cold.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So you like this Louisiana weather then?
I mean, it's okay.
I'm glad I asked you if you was cold, because I think I got the AC on 68 right now because I was starting to sweat.
I think this morning was like my limit of if it gets any colder.
What? It was only like 57.
I know.
I'm over here. Oh, so you're not even going to come to the park in January yet, when I'm out there wearing the same thing I'm wearing now with the Huskies. That's when you're going to see me at the park all the time.
You're going to see me with clothes on, like bundled up, complaining.
He's gonna let his Huskies out the car, and he's going to stay in the car with the heater on.
Probably.
You're going to be like, get your ass out here. And be like, Tim, you're fucking nuts. Especially seeing you ain't got no fat on your bones.
But if it's too hot, I can't do too hot either.
Y'all were out there all the time when it was fucking hot though.
Yeah, but I have AC.
Like days y'all are like, Tim, come to the park. Fuck no, it's hot. Fuck that.
Yeah, once it gets late or high 80s, that's when I'm like, no. That's my limit.
Okay, that's right now because it's in high 80s and it's 50 at night.
I know. This is my limit. No hotter, no colder.
Oh Lord. It's kind of crazy why you would go from Hawaii to here. What made you come here?
School.
So
yeah,
So was this the cheapest place to go to school? You had a scholarship or something?
I came here actually because of my professor, Dr. Frederique. So I met her years ago at a conference. I was presenting some of my research as an undergrad / master's, and she was like, "Oh, do you still want to study seaweeds?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Okay, apply." We just had coffee, and we were just talking, and then she's like, "Okay, send in your application and come to Louisiana." And I was like,
So you're saying that was basically an approval sliding across the table?
"Yeah."
Look at that. It's who you know, not what you know, Trace.
Yeah. So she was just like, "Okay, the most important thing is, you like the algae and you want to study the algae." And I was like, "Yeah, I do."
Shit.
And, if you asked me 10 years ago if I would ever get a master's or PhD, I would have looked at you like crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
So 10 years ago, what was your interest then? What were you trying to do? I mean, were you even trying to be in that field, or were you just trying to get a degree to say, I got a fucking degree?
Well,
now, let me move into this company and be the CEO.
10 years ago was what, 2010? That would be my second semester of college.
As a
freshman.
But is that undergrad?
Oh, yeah, undergrad.
Yeah. Okay.
And
do they have freshman masters, people?
No.
They don't call it freshman?
No, you just call first year masters or second year.
Oh, so you don't go through a whole, what is that, being a
That's for your bachelor's.
scrub
No, yeah,
thing?
that's just bachelor's.
So
you
wait,
don't
so you have a bachelor's when you finish your 4 years, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ideally.
And that's your first, so undergrad's over when you
You
graduate.
get your bachelor's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're still an undergrad. Your last year of no, not you, but just generally speaking, you're still an undergrad on your last year of your graduate.
No, you're
No.
when you get your bachelor's.
When you get your
That's
bachelor's.
what I'm saying. You.
But once you go beyond that, you're no longer undergrad.
So
Then
you
you're-
never can go back to freshman after you get your grad.
Correct. Well, unless you go, no, because then your credits transfer over. If you go back and get another bachelor's, so then you'll be like, I
Okay.
don't know.
I didn't know. I didn't know if you just started all over again.
Well, I guess it depends on your school.
I think then people with MBAs, when they go through all that bullshit, I think medical school is kind of different too, because you go from a regular to a, what is it? You go to your actual med school after you get a bachelor's, and you're basically scrub again, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. So. Oh, right. 10 years ago. Sorry.
No, it's
My
okay.
mind just.
You had that paper slid to you and changed your life.
That's
basically.
totally fine. Yeah. So, 2010, I was a freshman. I was 19, I think. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. But I actually came to Hawaii because I wanted to study sharks and dolphins.
Oh, wow. Why not volcanoes? Because isn't that where people go to study volcanoes?
So I actually took a volcanology class in Hawaii, and it was probably my favorite geology class ever.
Wow.
Because you get to
Do you get to suit up and go?
Yeah.
In the mouth?
You don't get to poke it, but you get to get really close to
You
it.
poke it, you coming back with no finger. That's
Right.
for sure. But
Yeah.
can you cross over that limit of where it's breathing out and actually start climbing down?
I wouldn't recommend that because it's full of sulfur, like sulfur dioxide and stuff, which is completely toxic.
Yeah,
so
deadly.
you don't want to.
Well, I didn't know if there was a suit because
I think.
Because you have to get to the edge to throw whatever you need to get a lava sample, though, I believe.
Well, so luckily in Hawaii, it's not it's a different kind of volcano. So there's calderas that you can just hike down and just and there's lava flowing differently, and it's very slow, and so you can
you can collect you a sample that way.
You can just well, it wasn't the most legal thing, but also when I was a freshman, you could go, you at nighttime could wait till the guard leaves for the night, and then go back to hiking, and then you could poke the lava with the stick. Now that is completely illegal and do not do that, but you could.
That's the equivalent of starting a California wildfire or something, probably.
Yeah, with the gender reveal,
I think that's the stupidest shit ever. Who needs to fucking announce to everybody what gender your fucking child is?
I'm having a food baby.
From Dickie's Barbecue. Might be the third time I've given him a plug, but that fucking shit's good.
It was very good. That's the first time I've had it.
But what started these fucking gender reveal things? Why are you so important? You need to tell everybody I have a fucking girl.
Social media.
Bored motherfuckers.
I don't know. I don't get it, but
bullshit. I think
I'm also not going to have a child, so I can't.
I've taken in too many other people's children to have my own now.
Chris is like, "Oh, I want 6 children." And I was like, "Good luck."
6 Huskies? That's when you say
No,
6
no.
Huskies?
Yeah, that's what I said first, and he's like, "No. We'll have our army of Huskies, and then kids."
No kids.
And then I'm like, "On what paycheck?" Not mine.
It's like, what is he studying? Psychology?
Mm-hmm.
So he better be fucking Howard Stern shrink.
I'm like,
charging tens of thousands
scientists
per
don't
week.
get paid that much.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of backwards too, though. That goes to show where the priorities of human of mankind happens to be.
I saw this statistic and I was like, man, if I was into sports more, I could be a coach and get paid like $1 million.
Yeah. Entertainment is more important than our livelihood, it seems. Well, I mean, look at our fucking dummy that got sick. I hope that fucker dies. I don't give a shit about him. It's about time something happened to him. And then if he recovers, I hope it's after the election and they arrest him. Welcome to recovering from COVID. Now go to jail.
Do not collect $200.
Pay us the millions you owe us.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I just don't understand it. I could complain about so many things. Why do I complain about so many things, Trace?
It's time for tea time with Tim.
Well, don't start with the word tea. Fuck's sakes. Are you
more of a iced coffee kind of person?
No. Oh snap! What is this? This segment? This little portion right here? See why I changed my shirt? Because it's Patreon content. Subscribe to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/intersections. If you want what you're missing, this little gap right here is only on Patreon, folks.
Do you feel better?
So there's my Patreon, my first introduction to Patreon, bitches. Fuck.
Do you feel better a little?
I might end up saying it again, though.
That's fine.
That's the sad thing.
You can say it again.
No, I mean, it burns me. I saw this. And it's the reason is because I do follow him. And every time I see it, it just burns me up. It just does.
He could have at least tastefully said,
if he, and
I don't have the time or whatever.
He could have told me, no, period.
On period.
That's it. No, period. No period either. Just no. I wouldn't be bringing this up. I wouldn't say anything. I would have forgot about him, honestly. But when you ignore me, and I see you read it, and then I emailed you, and you ignored my email too, fuck you.
Ever.
I know, but I don't know if this is related to your subject here.
It might not, but I might know it. I might not.
Well, you deal with, the study of algae and its benefits and, everything good and bad about it. What do you do anything with biomimetic or metic materials? What is that? I mean, have you heard of that before? I dug this up because when I was looking for algae, they were also talking about this. And there's, biotechnology, and this is a part of biotechnology. What the fuck is that? Do you know? Have you heard of it?
No. Unlike...
It has to do with technology. So I think it also, because it ran into this whole vaccine thing that I was reading at the same time, because it linked me to some other stuff. And it wasn't Harvard. It was one of the universities out of Pennsylvania that was talking about this. I didn't dig into it because I wanted to ask you if you knew anything about it, but
I don't.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah. Sorry.
You talked about, what was that earlier? The ocean, what?
What I like doing?
Yeah.
Aquascaping.
Okay. This is not even going to relate to that. I learned something else. And mind you, I went fishing with my dad and used to do this stuff all the time. And I think I heard the word before, but then it really didn't ring on me until I started digging into what you do, this brackish water stuff. Is there a difference between those type of body of waters and then ocean life? I know totally. It doesn't have as much salinity. It's less salinity than the ocean, but can that algae live in a brackish body of water?
It depends. It depends.
And can they cross over? Can they adapt to each other's environment?
It also depends. So, there are more tolerant species of. So basically, each species has their own niche, their own comfort zone of tolerances of light, temperature, salinity, nutrients, and it really depends on like that.
Mhm.
So you may see some that are in the brackish water, like how we see, in coastal Louisiana, that are also somewhat in more saline environments. Um, but it's actually, from my understanding, it is almost harder to live in that brackish environment because you have to be, um, well, because of the tides. They have, fresh water, coming out and saline water coming in, that kind of thing. And so you have to adapt to all these different environments constantly. And so it to me, it would be almost harder to live in a brackish environment that's constantly fluctuating in salinities or,
I think I would be the worst scientist because I'd be creating weird shit. Kind of like how in the movies you see the vampire and the what's the lichen.
oh, yeah.
They have sex and make this weird hybrid. I'd be wanting to make hybrid stuff.
So you'd want to get into genetic engineering.
Yeah. I want to GMO it or whatever that is, genetically
That's
modify.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, I'm all about that. I mean, isn't that how things advance sometimes? You make it better that way. Besides its
Yeah.
normal evolution. Because my next question is this: have y'all ever crossed? Basically, tried. Y'all
We
don't do
haven't,
experiments though.
but-
Y'all are just studying, right?
Yeah, so we're mostly in our lab we are more like taxonomists. So we try to put a name to the organism, try to figure out, is this really it or is it not? Is it somewhere different? Is it something different or not? Now there are scientists and phycologists and other universities that do grow successive generations of seaweeds and other things to combat climate change, to be like for an example in California, like kelps. A lot of people think seaweeds like they think of kelp. Well, kelp only grows in very nutrient rich colder waters, so you're not going to see it in Louisiana.
Okay. So you maybe like up there, Michigan areas where they
Oh
have.
no, so it's got to be saltwater too.
Oh.
So
You need to be off the coast of Washington and Maine and things
Yeah.
like that. Okay.
and so
Canada is where you got to be.
and there's plenty of it. So one of the I spent a summer in Friday Harbor, which is in the San Juan Islands of off of Washington,
Okay.
in between Canada and
Near Vancouver.
Victoria. Yeah, and it was probably my favorite summer ever.
Why?
Ever. It was just so beautiful. A little colder than what I'm used to, but it's so beautiful. There's so much seaweed in the intertidal. I wish I brought the photo, but there's a photo of me literally wrapping myself in the intertidal with kelp beds. In the kelp bed, like.
What'd I say? This man was a wildling. He's wrapping himself up with ocean life.
And like, well, it's funny because I didn't think anything of it or anyone was taking a picture of me.
Oh, he was really being
Oh.
one with nature.
Oh, the professor at the time, he teaches at UNC Wilmington in North Carolina.
Ron was about to start a new fetish out there, but they caught him.
Well, he took a picture, and they used this photo of me wrapping myself up in the kelp bed, taking a nap because it's a bed, and they're using it for their course advertisement, like flyers, like one of them.
Love your nature.
And I'll send you the photo.
Oh my
just,
god.
Just to laugh, but it's just you just see me like wrapping because, Hawaii we don't have kelp because it's too hot
Yeah.
and there's not enough.
And you don't
nutrients.
see it down here either.
Yeah, it's just too hot.
So is there a specific type of seaweed that's in the Gulf that's found nowhere else in the world, you think?
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I mean, you think of the water, it's real
Well-
stupid. I mean, it's fluid, but mind you, things can be very transient because of the water patterns.
Yeah.
Things can float off somewhere else.
Well,
and-
that's one of the reasons why we have to go offshore a lot. It's because we don't find really saline environments except when we're going offshore and in the deep,
Mhm.
because of the huge influx of the Mississippi.
Mhm.
With all the freshwater input, we don't really see a lot of seaweeds in the coastal areas.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if there's any endemic. I don't know enough, because what I'm looking at in the Gulf is just very specific. I could find out and get back to you.
Yeah, I'm curious.
But that would be interesting,
because I'm just wondering if there's like, how kind
because
of
the Gulf of Mexico actually is very large.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize.
But I
how
didn't
large
know
it
if the way the weather patterns and water moves in the Gulf of Mexico, if it makes it on the other side of Florida and it goes out up the coast, and we can find traces of migration of types of algae, and maybe how it evolves into different things in different areas. But it'd be the same type of algae, but it's just adapted and evolved
for
to
that
handle
area,
that. Yeah.
I think the only cool species that I can think of right now on the top of my head is sargassum.
Sarcasm.
Sargassum.
Whoa, that's even more dangerous.
Yes. And this invasive seaweed basically floats on top of the Gulf from the
I
Atlantic.
think I've seen this shit
Yeah,
before.
you probably, if you've been on a boat in the
Yeah.
Gulf, you've
Well-
totally seen mats of it.
Yeah, because I know we've taken drill ships from South Africa to the Gulf of Mexico, and you see.
And
yeah.
then the Sargasso Sea, is named from this genus of seaweed too. So it's some seaweeds live in these mats as clones of themselves, but they're drifters essentially, and they'll have other things living in it.
Are there evasive versions of okay, so we talk algae's vital for most sea life. It's food, it's everything. Is there an evasive destructive type of algae?
Oh, there's plenty.
There's
plenty.
But is there a threat right now? Or are all these oil spills that we keep having, has it created a threat of algae that could smother out all the other algae? And I think of this because there's a Chinese lily pad or something like that got stuck in channels all over the place. And it destroyed wildlife and it destroyed fish and everything, because it also smothered out oxygen and nutrients out of the water. So is there an algae that maybe we need to be aware of that we've created by accident by being destructive?
Well,
that you know of?
I don't know necessarily in particular with the Gulf of Mexico itself, but I'd have to look at things.
This podcast is brought to you by Polished by Full Attention to Detail, Acadiana's only award-winning automotive detailing and ceramic coating installation company in Acadiana. Guys, this podcast could not be done without Polished by Full Attention to Detail. Check them out. www.fullattentiontodetail.com.
A little more. But we do have harmful algal blooms, in the Gulf a lot, which causes these dead zones of anoxic environments.
Ooh.
But these are from microalgae called dinoflagellates.
Okay.
And so these are microalgae. It's a type of brown algae, but they're
Are they
microscopic.
like the virus of algae or
Is
something?
that red tide?
Yeah, so one of the things,
Wait, what is it?
red tides.
I'm about to Google it.
So there's
Okay.
something called a red tide, and that's caused from a dinoflagellate. There's also things that can...
Oh, that's pretty though.
Oh, that's dangerous, though.
Really?
Yeah, because what it'll do is they also produce a toxin.
Oh my god, that's pretty. So you tell me all these dead animals is from that?
Uh-huh.
Wow. What is its byproduct? Some kind of a methane or something?
No, it's an actual toxin.
Wow. Oh.
Depending on the strain, harmful algal blooms are
And this is a natural occurring growing thing?
well, so they do bloom.
Okay. Like a
Now
flower.
it gets this bad when there's excess nutrients in the waters, and so coming back from the Malco to Mackay concept, things that are happening upstream, like towards Ohio, Michigan, through the Mississippi River, of all these agricultural zones that are using fertilizer and, nitrates and phosphorus and, all these things are accumulating and flushing out of the Mississippi. And with the right conditions, they'll form these blooms. And then that's what causes, it's a whole domino effect.
We could say that this is man. This is created by man almost, even though it's organic.
Man has
because we dump shit all over the place.
Humans have enhanced it,
made it stronger.
Yeah, so they do occur naturally. Sometimes with the right conditions, like warmer weathers, and but
there's that dinoflagellate thing you were saying right there, right?
We're not helping the situation.
Okay, so it's more harmful than it is good then, no matter what.
Yeah.
Because it kills life, even though it's living itself. So it's a virus. It's like a virus of the ocean or the water.
Sort of.
So is this found in the ocean, or more of the freshwater?
It can be found in the brackish and open water. I think it just depends on the conditions. Like, I don't know enough about the harmful algal blooms, even though like algae, but
it's there.
It's a different kind of algae that I study.
So
that I don't. And then there's some really cool ones, like in Florida or like in California, that you can have bioluminescent algae.
I know,
which are like so
shit.
Cool.
I see this stuff, and I was going to be my next subject too. Actually, before it's funny how
it's a different type of dinoflagellate.
Oh, so that's dangerous too, then. As
well,
pretty as it, that's the sirens that's going to smother you.
Well, in anything, it's dangerous in excess, right?
Yeah.
And so they don't necessarily. All of them don't necessarily cause these toxic strains where it causes death, and like poisons, like ciguatera toxin is like this accumulation of this harmful algal bloom that persist in the.
Look up more bioluminescent. I want to see some more bio thingies.
You used to be able to buy them.
Oh, look, they got a tag right here.
Yeah.
Bioluminescent.
There's Dinopop, I think, is the company you can buy. Like, for anyone who has children. I don't know if they still make them or if this company is still around, but like in 2009 or 2010, I totally bought these like dinoflagellates that bioluminesce.
So you bought some poison for the water?
Well, no, you use it as a pet. Like
sea monkeys?
Yeah, like you buy them in a little container, and they did a play on the word because they're dinoflagellates. This was like in a shape of like a brontosaurus dinosaur, like the holding container. And so all you do is just...
Let's teach your kids how to infect the water.
Well, you don't dump it, but...
Yeah, but what do little kids do? I want to go put this in the pool. Oh, I want to go put this in the river.
Well, they won't survive.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were evasive, though. I thought it was this was a...
These ones will... Different. They're different species, so...
Okay.
Not all dinoflagellates, make toxic strains.
Oh, okay.
So just because you have dinoflagellates doesn't mean So
little Jimmy can't go and fuck up Lake Michigan if he decides to.
I mean, he could potentially
dump his pet luminescent friends into the water.
No, most likely they won't survive.
Oh my god!
But
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So. Oh my god! Excuse me. Hope the camera wasn't on me. That was a big ass yawn.
When it was.
All right. Sounds great. We are doing this. We're doing
it's
this.
It's like a python
really
unhinging their jaws.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking nuts. And then usually I yawn and it's the loudest thing that people hear too. I just realized too. I think they're cutting up because I gotta feed them as well because it's way past their dinner time. But that's okay. We'll be done with this pretty soon here. I was just curious. I was actually gonna bring up the little bioluminescent thing.
Oh, they're so cool. They're so cool to see. And they'll only bioluminesce in certain conditions of the water.
Like temperatures or something?
Like some kind of seasonal trigger will happen. So, and this is a bloom also, just it's not necessarily bad,
It's just different.
It's just an excess.
How'd you know about that?
Me?
Yeah.
Because I like stuff that lives in the water.
Okay. Well,
Like,
shit.
just not to his
He
degree where I dedicate my life to it, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
appreciate
Okay.
it.
I didn't know. I didn't
Yeah.
know you was a little
But you
sea
can
monkey.
get these as pets.
I didn't know you was a sea monkey. I could have been asking you some questions. Look, Alexa, over here. Look, the government's like, what y'all about to put in the bayou? They said Lake Martin's near you. You better not put them little things in the bayou. Yeah. Well, I mean, shit. I like knowing if there's something if we're creating a threat. That's why I had to ask.
You have to be more afraid of bacteria in the water than anything.
Oh, speaking of which, do they still have that?
Brain-eating amoeba.
That yeah.
Oh,
is
that's
that
crazy.
Is that still alive? Well, that's fucking nature's way of saying you fucking people need to
Well,
die.
that's one of the, like, from my understanding, like, how that happens is something along the way wasn't treated properly in your waters.
Are them dickhole worms where you pee in the water and it goes right up your pee hole?
That's in the Amazon.
Yeah.
That's some freaky
It's not a
fucking
worm,
shit.
It's a fish.
It's a parasite.
Well, that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. It's
Yeah, it's a-
microscopic though, isn't it?
No,
No.
it's totally macroscopic.
So wait a
It's
minute.
got spines.
Holy fuck! Yeah, you can't
It
pull
goes
that bitch
in
out.
And then it plants itself. So then when you try to pull out, it actually.
But it's
hurts
not
you.
like
Yeah, you're
it's
fucked.
not meant for that. But it just happens that it's
Well, that's how it's
chemical
evolved.
Cue, the chemical cue is like from urea and ammonia,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Nothing but it.
Unfortunately, our pee is full of
No,
it.
that's not unfortunate. We don't need to be doing that. That's what it says. You don't need to be doing that in my house. It said, you're in my house and you peeing all over the place. I'm fucking you up. I'm going to the source and talking to the manager.
Well, it grabbed on.
That's water Karen right there.
It'll grab on.
What?
The pun that'll grab on.
Oh.
It'll take hold.
Oh, yes. The situation will be resolved surgically.
So I guess then my next question is, after evasive, it's so weird how I always think about the destructive side, maybe because I'm the worst human as well. But okay, so moss. I think of moss in a tree. Algae's, is it related to the same thing as moss? Because what does moss do in trees? Isn't that some kind of
So,
food
lichens.
source in certain trees or something like that, feeding some kind of
So there are
ecology?
algae in trees. It's not just like water.
Mm-hmm.
They have lichens, which is a symbiotic relationship with a fungus and an algae, I think, or something like. I'm gonna get so much shit for not knowing that on the top of my head.
That's okay. Just take his masters from him.
Just tell me to drop out now.
No, that's okay. That means one of you professors ain't watching him close enough. No,
Yeah.
I'm just curious as like moss and trees. Is it like an algae? Is it considered algae? Because I've never heard
completely
that
different.
classified as anything.
Yeah,
or
so
is
a
it
moss-
just moss is moss?
A moss is a moss.
Okay.
Its closest relative is like a liverwort, which is different.
What is that?
It's like
What's a liverwort?
it's
Is that the little spots whenever you start poison, like when
I
your
mean,
liver's
that,
dying?
That is called a liver.
Liver. It's pronounced the same?
WORT.
Yeah.
So you've probably seen these in Louisiana. They're like everywhere.
They look like clovers to me. This TV's fucking horrible, Trace. The resolution on this is just sad.
But mosses are more
No, it's
closely
because it's
related to
this.
land plants.
It's a trash TV. Subscribe to our Patreon today and we'll get us a new TV that you don't get to look at.
Stay tuned for Tim's OnlyFans.
Wrong. Not happening. Not happening. Try again. Even though some people have said, what do you do after dark in your shop?
Whoa.
I'm not at my house. I'm now not at the shop. I'm at my house. I know that. I guess they thought I was going to do something else. I was like, no, it's just not my nature.
Full attention to OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's just not my nature. Yeah, but I've never seen these before. I think of clover. I'd see that. Well, actually, I would say it's a clover, but I've never seen this or.
Well,
That looks like ferns.
Well, so ferns are another one. So basically, if you're thinking evolutionary, so there's brown algae, red algae, and green algae.
Mm-hmm.
So only red algae and green algae are considered plants, okay?
Okay.
So weird evolutionary thing that I won't go over.
Okay.
So red
Sounds
algae are basically...
like that's part 2 of Ron Kittle's
Yeah.
episode.
So the most related to the land plants are the green algae. So think of like sea lettuce. Gosh, what are the caulerpa? Like you can eat caulerpa, like the sea balls, and like in Korea. Nori is red
What?
algae.
But that's green.
So, because of the pigments on how it dries, the red pigments actually are the first ones to degrade.
Oh.
And so that's why it looks
Does
green.
everything just default to green, though,
So,
when it comes to algae?
all algae have some sort of chlorophyll, whether it's red, green, or brown.
Yeah.
What makes them different is their accessory pigments. So the things that make them red or brown or, they have slightly blue pigments, that kind of thing. And different types of algae have these accessory pigments that help them photosynthesize better.
Okay.
And so, yeah. Nori is actually a red algae, and
Yeah, he's got a folder of stuff here, Trace.
I've got.
We need to check this out.
I don't think I have Nori, but I can show you basically
Let's show
the color.
Yeah, we need to dig into what you've got right here.
So
Wait, what
Nori.
is this? Is this a sample?
yeah, so this.
Holy shit.
So people, phycologists, they press the seaweeds on a special herbarium grade paper, and it's basically a snapshot in time of when you collect it, and think of them as like museum specimens almost, where you're logging what's there at that time. Now this one doesn't have any information because
So this was alive at one point. Y'all
Yep.
you
I pressed it on that piece
is that
of paper.
the color it originally was?
Yeah, so I've kept that in the dark for about. I collected that in 2018.
Smells like feet.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah,
I
it
wouldn't.
smell like feet.
It
Don't
pro-
smell it. Smell it.
It
Smell like
probably wasn't like
Don't
preserved,
smell it, smell it.
but like
feet. Don't you like how I put that?
other information, like
Oh
this
shit,
is-
he's got
this
little
is
note
like-
cards.
this is like what it like would officially look like. It's like
Oh shit.
that's like one of my fancy like. I've got actual information on it.
So what is this? Is this like a cell shot or something?
Yeah, so that's a cross section I did, and I took a picture, and then I printed it on a sticker
Holy
maker.
fuck. So it's 10 times magnified. I don't think. Yeah, I gotta get my mic over here. Holy shit.
And so you use
Check
a
this
cross
shit out.
section.
What'd you do with the other one, Trace?
Oh, it's right here. Do you want it?
Well, no. I just want to know where they're going because I want to go through the folder of stuff.
Oh yeah, you can.
But we're gonna do this. We're
there's
gonna
like-
show everybody.
There's like a bunch of different ones. So this one's Maziella.
Now these are all algae, everybody.
Yeah. So like, I can.
Yeah,
What
we got a
happens-
shot of that one.
So-
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
So this one's more like formal. Of like, I got this one.
I think that's what most people relate to algae. They see the fingers and the weird stuff. And
So this is Eucuma, and I got this from Florida in the Keys. On one of our school trips, like for anyone who wants to take marine botany in the spring, you'll most likely.
y'all are taking a trip there.
Yeah, we usually go for spring break
Okay.
to the Keys for like 3 days, and because you have to go.
Can I see that eggplant one?
Sure.
Of course, I don't know what any of it is. I'm just like
It's fine.
algae. This looks like skin.
Yeah, you could touch it,
This looks like skin.
and then there's like this.
How long
one,
has this been on this paper?
about 2 or 3 years.
Oh, so it's not going to do anything else.
Well, as long as I keep it in the dark and away from like pretty humid environments, I think it'll like bleach out more when it's exposed to like light. But then
Yeah, they all smell like feet.
it's because it's been in a box for like.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
But
my
then there's more like
observations.
intricate ones that I really like, that are more like smaller and branching.
Looking like little trees and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm intrigued by that because it just looks skin that you peeled off of somebody's back.
Ew.
Ooh. Wait a minute, is this real?
Yeah, all of that's real.
Holy shit, that's thin as hell.
Yeah. And then let's see.
Nootkana.
And then here's like a big thing of like the sea lettuce.
Oh, this fucker said it was attached to a tire.
Oh yeah, so at Friday Harbor they have like these tires that are just like hanging from the
Oh, so you didn't
docks.
run over it. It attached to something
no.
submerged
Yeah.
in the. Oh.
So at Friday
I'm like,
Harbor,
them
they
bitches
have
ran
like
over that
these,
and killed it.
they have these tires floating like on the edges, and for just to see what grows on it, and like kelps and other seaweeds can use it as a substrate, like to grow on.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what is this? Reached my hand out and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. But you don't really see what it looks like until you have like a tray of water.
And you put
and
it
you
in
kind
there.
of just lift it up. And I'm like, oh, it's actually pretty intricate.
Yeah.
And
Now
so,
this fool got some real lettuce.
so this is commonly known as sea lettuce. And so
Ugh.
it's a little more bleached out. It used to be very vibrantly green.
How old is that one?
Oh, same.
So all of these are around the same time
Yeah,
frame?
I also just kind of, some of them I used to decorate my windows at one point.
Really?
So some
What do you
of
mean
them,
decorate your windows?
like I would just tape them up on my window,
Wow.
like as a, just a,
So you were like Leatherface.
well, this is more
His
like,
victims were hung in the window.
no, it was more, I didn't have blinds at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, I don't want
This is
people
a way to
looking
frost
at
out
me.
the window?
Yeah, I didn't want people looking at me.
These are pretty fucking cool, though.
And then here's like a smaller partial of like a kelp that you would think of.
I think I've seen stuff. I've definitely seen this in clumps in the ocean. Oh, he came loose. He was like, oh, he shriveled up. Oops.
Oh yeah, for that, they have a little gas bladder, and that's that circle part that you see.
Oh.
And so what I did was I cut it in half and pressed it, because it's a pain if you don't.
Well, if it'd be whole, then you really wouldn't see the
Right.
intricacy of the inside. That's pretty cool.
So, and then let's see, and here's more of like other like.
This is like Discovery Day.
Oh yeah,
I love this.
this is like a type of coralline algae, but not the kind I study. So I study more the crust.
Okay.
Now these are what we call geniculate corallines. So think of like things with joints. So geniculate means joints.
Oh, shit.
And so if you look at it, it has these segmentation.
Is that almost how, like, when you look in the grass and you pull those weird weeds and they got these knots and that's like a joint almost where another piece grew out of another?
Sort of, but different. So those thin areas in between.
Yeah, this is kind of what I'm talking about with the weeds, like in your yard,
Mm-hmm.
and they're hard to pull. It's kind of like the start of what grass could be, but then it just doesn't want to be grass. And
Yeah,
it's
so those are like
shit.
the like nodules of like.
Yeah, it's the garbage of the yard.
This one isn't as pretty, but you can like.
Oh, he brought some kale.
What?
It's like kale. That's what it looks like. Okay, you can laugh all you want, but it looks like kale to me. Oh. Oh yeah. I actually like this one. I like this one more than the naughty one. The naughty one.
To me, it almost reminds me of like fir tree.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this fool over here thinking of Christmas. Oh, I don't know. I like this one now.
So, yeah, we got those.
What?
I think I've got duplicates of some of them. I didn't bring much, but
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do this though, cause I kind of want to get these and
you can frame them. I
want to
have
put them in little frames. Is what I
You
want to
can.
do. I want
You
to.
can pick whatever you want. You can keep the whole batch.
I want to keep the whole batch.
I can always get more.
Cause I can make a multi-frame and get it hung somewhere in the studio here.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Cause I'll never see this shit in real life. I really won't.
Oh yeah, you can keep whatever you want.
That's awesome. I appreciate that.
This is probably the most artistic I'll ever get. Is just pressing.
Yeah, but I mean, that's part of your process with
Mm-hmm.
studying anything, though, right? You have to. Do you have to do that since that's like a sample
Well,
that you've had?
Yeah. So basically, this is when we collect something, we usually have herbarium pressing. So this is one step, and then we'll put it in some sort of preservative like formaldehyde or a derivative of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so we could look at the anatomy of it, at a later point. And then we also put another part of it in Silica desiccate.
We might have to take a break at a pee.
That's fine.
I'll be right back. We're back.
And we're talking about
The preservation. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And then the last part is doing a silica desiccant, which we use the cheap version called crystal kitty litter. And so that's a cheap alternative to silica desiccants. And
Is that desiccant like kind of what you find in little packages that soak up
exactly.
moisture and stuff
but
like that?
a cheaper version,
Okay.
because scientists are cheap.
Well, you don't make much. That's why.
Right, right. So we're cheap.
Yeah.
It works. And so the reason why we do that is if we want to do molecular work, like what we do in our lab.
Yeah.
Like that, this immediate desiccation helps preserve the quality of the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the best ways we do to preserve that sample for that reason. So it's a 3-part faceted approach where we've got this as a voucher and then something in formaldehyde so we can look at the structures, because if you desiccate it, your structures are basically gone, but you can do molecular work. But if you do formaldehyde, your structures are intact, but you
can't do anything else to
molecular
it.
work.
Yeah.
So because formaldehyde kills DNA.
Yeah, exactly. Just eats it all up.
Yeah.
You just have the shell of it
It's
preserved.
like, oh, I can look at what the structure is, but I can't
Study it further than what it
what
looks
it looks
like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what we did in science in high schools and stuff. You've got things in formaldehyde, and you're just studying what it looks like. You can't extract and look under anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could probably look at
Like the tissues. And
yeah,
stuff,
tissues and stuff, but not anything more than that.
Yeah. So.
Huh. So we learned that, a few things about algae. Got a bunch of little samples there, but I guess what would be the most important thing that you would tell people about algae?
That it's not just the scum that you may see at a lake or on a rock. It's a whole different world of things and uses and shapes, sizes, colors.
And look, they're putting it in tennis shoes. If it didn't have some kind of a purpose, it wouldn't be reused and replacing things that we've been using forever in a shoe.
And look in the ingredients. You might already be using it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you drink chocolate milk at all, you've got carrageenan. If you go to the dentist, you've got sodium alginate.
So that was the thing I was going to ask you. What do you think are some of the common things people don't even realize algae is a part of their life, their daily life every day?
Oh, toothpaste, ice creams, shampoos, conditioners. Let's see, certain soaps.
Look at this.
Agar, anything with agar. So this is talking not just about, your medical grade agar to do bacteria work, to make your plates and cultures. You buy agar like as a vegan alternative to gelatin.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see, algae's everywhere.
Yeah, it's life. It's part of it.
A lot of your food supplements, like.
But we repeated it several times. It's vital. It's needed. And now we're finding uses for it for us on land, it seems. And we do have the algae that grow on land, but that's completely different. You don't even study that. But it's got some similarities, I'm sure.
Yeah. So.
Shoot, Ron. Oh man, there's a lot going on. We talk about this forever, though. I mean,
there's so much you could talk about algae.
It makes me wonder in detailing if there's something that there's algae in for detailing.
You could probably use it for pigments.
Oh, for dry
it out and grind it up and mix it for pigments.
Okay. Would it affect the use of something though? Could it? Can algae react with something and make it worse?
Maybe. I don't know about the chemistry. I think it just depends.
I'm curious. I'm gonna have to look that up for detail. I didn't do that. That was one thing I typically would do to see if we had a similarity in something that we use that you already study, but I didn't do that. I did. So I was looking up other stuff. I was gonna. You're getting a PhD, so you'll be writing something soon, and will people find it in certain organizations like
sure.
What is it, I think there's like a society y'all have, a phycology
there's a Phycological Society of America.
Will you partake in that after you
I'm already a member of it, so we go to these meetings and present our results, but I also do a lot of we do a lot of community outreach too with things. Like I've helped some of my lab mates come to schools and talk about algae and photosynthesis and, other uses of, seaweeds and other algae. There's like Science Day, like at UL, like where a lot of like students come in classes, and we'll help out with that too. So it's not just scientists in like this bubble. Like we try to,
educate and spread
the general public too in classes and communities, so that this information is out there too.
Well, I think that's important because you do want to pass this down. You want people to study more. We might learn more things that can benefit us in keeping it going in the system instead of us destroying it, Yeah,
and there's a whole world of discovery still waiting to happen. Like,
well, what do they say? Only 3% of the ocean has been explored?
Oh, I believe it. So
I mean, well, we only know 3% of the life that's out there because it's 10 times bigger than any land, and we've pretty much gone everywhere on. I don't even know if we've gone everywhere on land. Have we? Have we explored every inch of land in the world?
I mean, they're pretty, casual about giving us facts about Antarctica, but
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, but the ocean is vast, and we don't know much about
Antarctica.
it.
Like they're in algae is everywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
In the ice?
Well,
or just underneath the formation?
There's in like the snow melt and stuff too.
It's gonna be interesting to see what's uncovered.
There's algae and polar bear fur.
Oh fuck!
That can grow, like
the list goes fucking on.
Huh?
Sloths?
And sloths.
What?
Yeah.
They move so slow, algae grows on them.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Sloths move so slow.
I knew they move slow, but that's ridiculous.
I shit you not.
How can you have algae growing? Come on, man! It takes a while for algae to grow.
Not necessarily.
You tell him that means that sloth must be sleeping for a while where he's at.
No, they just move that slow. Like you move so fast, like stuff can't like bind to you. They're just their entire life.
Yeah, but that's still quick.
Not fast enough to. You're not generating wind. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to look that shit up. That's crazy.
There's algae in barks of trees in
we see.
In desert. There's algae in desert.
So it just seems like algae is just a major cycle in life period, not even just in oceans.
Basically, algae is a way of life. Like
wait, where did we form it? We were amoebas or something, or what were we? Not amoebas. What were we? One cell, then. But what was the beginning of life? Was it algae?
Well, there was a cyanobacteria that is what started the oxygen in over years. So.
And that's an algae?
Well, it's technically it used to be called blue-green algae, but it's a bacteria.
Okay.
So it depends who you talk to.
So it's debatable then.
Well,
Go figure.
But
well, not for you.
Not
you're
now.
like no, but then somebody else that studies something else is like, yes, it is debatable because it's mine, and you're like, no, it's mine. No, it's mine. Well, I think we've learned a lot here. Hopefully some people have picked up a few things. I know I learned some stuff, even just looking up things so I could be able to talk to you.
Algae isn't scary. It's just...
No, it's not. I mean, you can't be scared of learning new things either. Yeah. I just think it's where I just my overall take on it is it's just important period across the board. I mean, hell, we're fucking eating this shit.
And I only study a small part of the algae, like
because you're talking about just the
coralline, the ones that calcify.
Yeah, I wanted to get into what happens to coral when it dies. Does it turn into an algae because everything can grow on it?
Algae can use it, and other things can use it as like substrate.
Yeah, well, we won't. We'll get into that another time. We won't because, man, we've been sat here for hours today.
I can talk.
Well, I could too, but I mean, we're gonna be burning midnight oil, and then Trace will be burning my house down.
Part 2.
Yeah, we definitely got
question from your audiences.
We definitely got to do it. Yeah, guys, you have questions or anything? Just hit us up. We can kind of get ready for a part 2 here. I've never had a guest where I needed to have come back to finish discussing things. So yeah, you have anything else to add to get to the audience?
Thanks for having me.
No,
like, I've learned a lot with all the car detailing.
Watching me feed the populace all the stuff that I feed them, and then you go, oh, that's...
Well, I was more like, oh, now I'm questioning all my decisions of just like, ooh, maybe maybe I should look into.
Well, I think the take that you probably can get from it is there's different levels of the type of detailing that are done.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what you use your vehicle for, and will you benefit from having what some of the other people do to theirs. For you, probably not, because you're on the go. I mean, you probably use your car for research purposes. You probably drive somewhere with it. You're probably bringing it all over the places.
I miss my Jeep. I used to have a Jeep.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
See, yeah, and there's
Now
not
I
much
just
I can
have
do
a-
for a Jeep. I mean, because you'll just fuck it up the next day.
Yeah.
But that's what they're there for,
Yeah.
to go explore. So yeah, Ron, I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
I guess we'll have a part 2, huh, Trace?
Oh yeah.
This is the second time we've said this, huh?
No, this is the first time we said we'd do a part 2, but.
Oh, no, yeah, that's right. This is the first time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely do
Science
this.
Sundays.
Hopefully, well, I mean.
Oh, don't do it every Sunday.
We can't do it every Sunday
Don't do
because
it.
then we got to double up our load and.
But then this gets posted on Friday, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just have a whole podcast. Just
Is there
for
a
science.
scientific word to make a rhyme out of Friday? Finite Friday?
Phycological Fridays.
Oh, but then so you've made the topic and you're
Well-
stuck with it and you have to tell us everything about that.
I didn't come.
Ready for that.
Yeah, I didn't create that hashtag.
Oh, okay.
The society did.
Oh shit.
So-
We don't know what we're getting into here. Well, all right.
Twitterverse.
That's Ron, y'all. He's a smart guy that knows things that I don't know. And goodbye, everybody.
But yet, I still have a lot to learn.